Now, this stadium that was created just south of a century ago, filled with Gothic architecture, and today, with the President of the United States, Donald Trump, attending for the fourth time, did so as president-elect in 2016, did so in 2018 and 19, and here in 2020, a tradition begun by Teddy Roosevelt back in 1901. And historically, the president would sit with one student section in the opening half and switch at halftime. We are told that President Trump will likely switch in between the first and second quarter for this year's installment, as he has now taken a standing position at the 40-yard line to our left on the Navy end zone side of the field. A giant throng of photographers circle over on the opposite 45 to get photos of President Trump alongside dignitaries for each respective academy. And the commander-in-chief for those that serve and those here that are going to go on to that life of service. Now, we saw them on our way into the stadium today. You get a taste of it as you approach the grounds of West Point. A wooded, mountainous area, rugged terrain, stone the dominant element in homes and businesses. And it spikes dramatically as soon as you come through the security gate.
Please rise for the invocation by Army Chaplain Colonel Keith
Good. It is
Good.
time now for the invocation, and we turn it over to Keith Good, the chaplain of the United States Military Academy.
On our land. Almighty God, creator and sustainer, here at the end of an incredibly difficult year, we stop for a moment to focus on the joy of America's game and ask your blessings. First, bless this day as we recognize it is a gift. We did not make the sun rise, we do not make the earth turn, but we see the light and we feel the wind, and we're thankful we're not enjoying the rain. Lord, for this gift of life, we thank you. Lord, bless this game. Here on this field of play, two teams will strive with all their might to win. But soon, in the days ahead, we may ask them to deploy to a field of battle. And in that day, serving together as one team, they will once again strive with all their might to win in defense of our nation. How thankful we are for the devotion displayed by these players on the field and by all in uniform who surround me from both academies. And so, Lord, I pray that you keep them safe, bless their dedication, their discipline, and their sacrifice. And finally, Lord, bless this land. May we as a nation humbly learn the lesson that is being played before us by the cadets and midshipmen today, that we as a nation, even as we strive, are ultimately on one team, and that only through our dedication to the truth, only through our discipline to do what is right, and only through our sacrificial service to others can we ever hope to win over the challenges that may lie before us. And so, Lord, bless this day, bless this game, and Lord, God bless America. Amen.
Keith Good, chaplain
And
of the United States Military Academy.
Of our nation's colors and performance of our national anthem. Performed jointly today by the Glee Clubs of the United States Military Academy and the United States Naval Academy.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming,
whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home
salutes lowered by all those in attendance as a very dense, soupy, and unyielding fog starts to swallow up the stadium. You cannot see outside of the stands. The Army Black Knights take the field with 4 giant flags, one each with a bright gold beaming letter etched in white, spelling Army, and an enormous American flag as they celebrate the Army's 25th Infantry Division, the Tropic Lightning uniforms with olive tops, gray pants, and soft white numerals, celebrating the Wolfhounds who made their name in Siberia in World War I. And now right through the Army flags comes Navy, disrupting Army right between the R and the M. The entire team storms out, led by the American flag, Navy clad in its ocean camo with a blue marbled helmet and top with small streaks of white similar to a cat's eye or a bowling ball, reminiscent of the stone found throughout the Academy grounds, and thereafter white on the rest of the top and the pant with thick gold and navy striping down the outside of the pant leg, and the Marine Corps logo stitched and embroidered straight into the top of the pants. So while Army populates its sidelines here at its home field, Navy collectively takes a bent knee, helmets off, and dips its heads in the end zone to the right. And we are now set for the coin toss. Let's go down to the field.
Acting Secretary of Defense, Chris C. Miller. Secretary of the Army, the Honorable Ryan D. McCarthy. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark A. Milley. Chief of Staff of the Army, General James C. McConville. Sergeant Major of the Army, Michael Grinston. United States Military Academy Superintendent, Lieutenant General Darrell A. Williams. And United States Military Academy Command Sergeant Major Michael Coffey. From Navy sideline, Secretary of the Navy, the Honorable Kenneth Braithwaite. Commandant of the United States Marine Corps, General David H. Berger. Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Mike Gilday. Senior Enlisted Advisor to the Chairman, Ramon C.Z. Colon Lopez. Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, Troy E. Black. Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy, Russell L. Smith. United States Naval Academy Superintendent, Vice Admiral Sean Buck. United States Naval Academy Command Master Chief, Kareem Cole. And for today's coin toss, the 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Captains, welcome to the 121st playing of the Army-Navy game. My name is Dwayne Haight. This is Jim Eckel of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Joining us today is a very special guest, and it's my honor to introduce the Commander-in-Chief and President of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
Thank you, fellas. Good luck.
Thank you. Navy, you're going to be calling today's coin toss. We have a special coin for today's game. On one side is the Army-Navy logo. That represents heads. On the other side is the site of today's game, Michie Stadium. That represents tails. Navy, what is your selection?
Tails. Tails.
Tails is called. Mr. President, will you do us the honor? It is tails. Navy, you won the toss.
We wanted to close.
Navy has won the toss, has elected to defer their option to the second half. You will receive the football. Which way would you like to kick? Let's turn king sides. To start the first half, Army will be receiving the football. Have a great game.
And so Navy wins the toss and defers until the second half. And Army will have the ball to begin the game as we go downstairs to Tina.
John, the parade of leadership continues here at West Point, joined now by the Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Mike Gilday. Admiral, thank you so much for joining us just ahead of the Army-Navy game.
Tina, thanks. It's an exciting day. It's great to be here, and thanks for taking the time to interview.
And you are a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy, so what did you think when you saw the midshipmen marching on the field at Mikey Stadium in the midst here of the U.S. Military Academy?
Well, we haven't done that in a long time, but it's great to be here at West Point. You know, I'm looking at a sea of gray with all these cadets, and it reminds me of being at sea on a Navy ship. That's the last time I've seen this much gray, but it's good to be here. This really is America's game with America's teams, with an inspiring group of young people that are just phenomenal. And so to do this during the pandemic, I think, is especially important.
What impressed you about the way both the superintendents of the Naval Academy, the Military Academy, both athletic directors, the way that they were not going to let this game be canceled? They were going to play it wherever they could, as long as they could have the cadets and midshipmen together. What did that mean to you to be able to join, to have everyone join together here today?
Critically important. So it's consistent with the way both academies have handled every challenge this year. We're conducting our academic years with classes as much as we can. You can't teach leadership online. Today is an example of that, where we have to be together, we think, in order to pull this off and to send a symbol to the nation that we're strong and that we're together.
Admiral Gilday, do you have any particular Army-Navy memories that stand out in your mind, or a certain game?
All the wins. I remember all the wins. And I'm hoping for that today. I think that the team's fired up. We're ready to come out here and play some ball. And my prediction's Navy by a touchdown.
All right. Thank you so much, Admiral Gilday, for joining us before the Army-Navy game. We really appreciate your service and your time this afternoon.
Thanks, Tina. Beat Army.
And now let's send it back to John Sadak.
Well, thank you, Tina. We are shaking the entire press box. We can feel movement from the giant throng of students down below. Navy to the left, Army to the right. Hats off, jumping up and down, sending vibrations of seismic proportion. And that's not hyperbole, literally into the booth. I've never lived in California. I've been through a few earthquakes. It feels somewhat like this.
I'm usually one floor below, and it makes a big difference. I don't know how I feel about this right now.
Well, Navy is ready to kick right to left, and I'll tell you what, the fog has thickened so dramatically, and Army's uniforms with a drab olive top and gray pants make them nearly camouflaged into the surface. You can hardly see the Army players, reminiscent, I would dare say, even more so effective than their white uniforms in the snow from 4 years ago.
Unreal, right? Between the fog and the color of the uniforms, they blend right in with the green artificial surface.
Well, Navy won the toss and elected to defer. Ben Fee to kick right to left. Tyrell Robinson, the deepest return man for Army. He is special. Averages 21 plus per kick return and is one of the most dynamic men on touches from the line of scrimmage in all of college football. Ben Fee, the right hand raised in the air. He storms toward the teed up football set up on the right hash. His boot slams into the ball and tumbles it end over end. A fair catch wave by a retreating Robinson as he collects it at his own 2. And Army's offense will be the first to the field, led by Tyler Tyler, the sophomore signal caller, making just his second career start. His first came 3 weeks ago in Army's last game when he had a career-high 35 carries, the 5th most in program history. What makes Tyler special, Ross?
Well, I think he's the fastest and quickest, and those are not necessarily the same thing. Quarterback for Army, specifically on some of their runs. When he gets up into the hole, he's just able to hit it faster than the other Army quarterbacks have this year.
And so he will be under center. Connor Bishop, the center, the guards, Captain Mike Johnson, Peyton Reeder, Luke McCleary, and J.B. Hunter, the tackles. Tight formation, Navy a crowded front, loading the box. Sandon McCoy, the deep fullback. Option play running right with a fullback lead right into the waiting grasp of John Marshall, who swings him around and thrusts him down at the 27, a gain of 2. It'll be 2nd down and 8. And so Army stands at 7-2. The Black Knights have won 8 straight at home, outscoring their foes 335-82 in that time. They've taken 23 of their last 25 at home. Navy Jackson Perkins, the only defensive player to start every game this year. He is up front. Midshipmen enter at 3-6. They've lost 4 in a row and really struggled at home. They're glad to be on the road in this game. But Tyler under center, 2nd and 8, 5 on the play clock. Hands it off to a looping Tyrell Robinson, who tries to run through a couple of Navy players, but gets swung down by Kevin Brennan. He hugged him on his hip and ripped him to the earth at the 29-yard line. Gain of 2. It'll be 2nd down and 6.
Interesting to see Army start the game 2 plays in a row that were not option plays and also not giving the ball to their fullback. Usually Army likes to try to tenderize the meat, if you will, a little bit, see what they can get on the fullback dive. Instead, they went quarterback zone to the right on 1st down, and 2nd down was Robinson back the other way on a power play.
Army 47% on 3rd down this year as they give it to Sandon McCoy, who has a hole on the right side. He loops around Marshall and then steamrolls Mikey McMorris. Dropped the shoulder into his chest plate and thumps him down at the 40 to pick up the first. Tyler, the quarterback.
He followed the block of McCoy. That's what you saw, John. McCoy led him right around the edge. Good job by McCoy to seal the edge. And Tyler's got that quickness. Exact same play they ran on 1st down. It's by far their favorite play with Tyler. It's just quarterback zone.
So they convert on 3rd down and 6. Tyler gives it up the gut, and the fullback dive falls forward to the 43. Jacoby Buchanan, who lost 20 pounds to get down to 260 this year. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Opening drive of the game for Army.
You got to love that, right? You got a guy out here who's actually the leading rusher for Army. He had to lose 20 pounds to get down to 260. I mean, where else do you see that? You don't see it anywhere in the sport of football.
Had some ball security issues last year that he's largely rectified this year. And a massive formation change to shotgun split backfield. Tyler gives the handoff and a run into the right side of the line, and a sea of Navy bodies await, led by Mitchell West and Kevin Brennan, as he gets denied to the 45, a gain of 3. It'll be 3rd and 5, scoreless. Army on the opening drive of the game, 5 yards shy of midfield.
Army actually very comfortable in 3rd and 5. For everybody else around any level of football, this is a passing down. Not for Army. They are very willing to run it on this down and try to bring up 4th and 1 or 2.
Tyler under center. 3rd down and 5 at Army's 45. He takes the snap, but flags flutter. He took a stumble as he grabbed the ball. A referee, Dwayne Haight.
False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
A costly penalty for an Army team rarely flagged, just 5 per game. That's among the 30 fewest in all of college football, and it greatly changes this down.
Well, Connor Bishop, the center, never snapped the ball. Everybody but the center moved. That is never a good feeling. Bishop's had a nice year, but he's the young guy up front. He's only a sophomore, and this is his first year ever playing the position at center.
So here's 3rd down and 10. Army at its own 40. Tyler under center. Fullback motion. Fake the fullback dive. No, they do give it to him, and Navy clamps down. 3 bodies swarm Sandon McCoy and upend him at the 42. Only a gain of 2. It'll be 4th down and 8. And punt time for Army.
Boy, I think they thought maybe they could fool Navy there, because it's highly unlikely you're going to get 10 yards on 3rd and 10. I think they thought Navy would be expecting something on the perimeter, trying to get the ball to the outside, and maybe they could bust something right up the middle on it.
So here's the snap, and Zach Harding's right-footed punt is away. Mark Walker retreating, sees the ball plop at the 20, scoops it up 15. He gets hit as soon as he has the ball, took a stride to his left and a sidestep, and gets dropped officially at the 16 as Navy's offense takes the field for the first time today. And they've had their own rotation to quarterback, Xavier Arline, handling the duties for the midshipmen this year. We have no score, 10:57 to go in the first quarter. Navy and Army. This is Westwood One's coverage of the Army-Navy game.
When I was in Iraq, our convoy was hit. It was bad. After I came home, I could still hear booms and see tracer fire. Makes it hard to be a good mom.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I'm Naomi Mathis, Air Force veteran.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
With help from DAV, I was able to begin to heal.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Today, I'm part of DAV. We're veterans helping veterans to get the benefits they've earned. And I give my veterans my all.
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
My victory is being able to be here for my children.
Naomi Mathis, thank you for your service. May your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
In today's market, we think there are a lot of financial risks for anyone who is over 50, retired, or retiring soon. Hi, I'm Ken Murray, founder of Retirement Planners of America. We want to give you a free consultation for investing during these uncertain times. You will receive Social Security strategies, tax-saving strategies, and investment strategies, all at no charge or obligation. Protect your financial future.
Call 800-375-1159. That's 800-375-1159.
Welcome back to the Grainger broadcast booth at Mikey Stadium at West Point. Along with Ross Tucker, I'm John Sadak. With supplies and solutions for every industry, Grainger has what your team needs. Click Grainger.com for industrial supplies, safety products, and time-saving business solutions. Grainger for the ones who get it done. So Army fails to pierce midfield on its opening possession. Navy will get its try scoreless. 10:57 to go first quarter. And Navy set to have Xavier Arline become the 5th Navy freshman ever to start an Army-Navy game. For what it's worth, the first 4 went 3-1.
Yeah, not too bad. Look, if you're a freshman starting in this game, you are legit, right? Because they all bring in 2 or 3 quarterbacks minimum a year. So you think about how many they have on the roster. For our line to be considered the best of the bunch, that tells you a lot. Just watching him against Tulsa last week, he is quite the athlete.
Navy will start at the near left hash at its own 16-yard line. Navy clad in white with the blue marbled helmet and shoulders. Army in the olive drab top with the gray pants and the olive helmet. Arline under center from his own 16. Calls for motion. Option play to his right. Has a hole on the right side. Dips the head and gets bopped by a couple of Black Knights of the 21. A gain of 5. It'll be 2nd and 5. A change for the midshipman up front. Billy Honecker moved from tackle to guard a few weeks ago. Today he moves from jersey number 71 to 68 to honor his fallen teammate, David Forney. He was the starting left guard for Navy last year as a senior and was found unresponsive. It passed away on February the 20th of this year. He spoke to his parents, Rick and Erica, to get permission, as well from the head coach, Ken Niumatalolo, and now wears the number of his fallen brother. 2nd and 5, blitz shown on the near side, and the handoff goes to Nelson Smith, the bruising fullback, who takes a wallop from Leo Lowen, free safety, right near the sticks. Darian McDonald in on the contact as well. That's good to move the chains. First down at the 26.
Highly encouraging start here for Army, and they got, or for Navy, I should say, Miles Fells, a really good block on the backside. They pushed everything to the right, and he was able to cut it all the way back. Fells able to pin the inside linebacker, Eric Smith, inside. 2 nice runs to start this drive for the midshipmen.
No score. A little more than 10 minutes to go in the first quarter. Arline under center. Navy from its 26. Handoff goes to Nelson Smith, who tried to run out of an arm tackle, but unyielding. The hands there from Amadeo West yank him down as we go downstairs to Tina, ball to 32.
And, John, as you talk about Billy Honecker wearing the number 68 today, Navy has actually honored David Forney all season wearing a sticker on the back of their helmets that pictures him running out of the tunnel at last year's Army-Navy game in Philadelphia, carrying the American flag with the word brotherhood underneath. John?
Appreciate that, and brotherhood is certainly a term that's used interchangeably with Navy and Army, teams in the truest sense. 2nd and 4, Navy at its own 32. Scoreless game. Arline, the freshman under center. Give again to the fullback in Nelson Smith, and this time Army was ready. Multiple bodies litter the landscape. The first there, Nolan Cockrell at the 34 to stun and silence him. Gain of 2, 3rd and 2.
Really the first stuff of the game for the Army defense. Their junior nose tackle, Nolan Cockrell, big fan of his, watching him this year, 6'3", 280, Centerville, Virginia. He's been so stout in the middle of that Army defense. Gives him a chance here on 3rd and 2, although both academies so comfortable, so used to these 3rd and short situations, and they have had a lot of success already in this game with the fullback.
And Navy's going to go to pistol depth with 1 deep back, 3 wide slot left. That's C.J. Williams in motion on 3rd and 2. It's a keeper for Arline. He's got the first down. Chip just below the left knee, stumbles and falls at the 39-yard line with contact again from Darrigan McDonald. Gain of 5, first down.
Navy is winning the battle at the line of scrimmage right now. That's very similar to a play they ran earlier. They've got everybody looking like they're blocking right, but it's a designed cutback. And all the guys on the left side, Self, Honecker, even Fells, the slot back again, they're all caving in the Army defenders using their momentum against them.
Navy at its own 39, scoreless, 7:42. Clock rolls first quarter. Arline the snap. Handoff again goes to Nelson Smith. 3 different bodies push him back. He gets knocked out at the 40, but earned forward progress to the 42. That's a gain of 3. Nelson Smith dubbed the spark plug of the Navy team by head man Ken Diamatololo. A tackle for Eric Smith.
You know, watching so far, John, one team looks like they've played a game the last couple weeks. The other team looks like they haven't played in a while. And if you go back to the only other time this season that Army had a 3-week layoff, that was before the Tulane game. You know, they prepped for 2 weeks for Air Force, and all of a sudden that game got postponed, and Army struggled mightily in the first quarter against Tulane. And so far, this drive for Navy looks very similar.
Inverted bone. 3 men surround Arline at pistol depth on 2nd and 7. Handoff goes to the new fullback, Jamel Carruthers, and he gets walloped by Jeremiah Lowry, the dog hybrid defensive lineman. No gain, silenced at the 42.
Yeah, the dog position is a stand-up, end of the line of scrimmage player. And this time, Lowry really came over the top. Cockrell was at the DN position. Lowry scraped over top of Stokes to be able to make that play. Bring up 3rd and long.
3rd down and 7 for Navy. They do have Michael Cooper today. 6'5", 221 wide out. Their best and their biggest had been out for a few weeks. Carruthers sidecars. They go shotgun, wing right. Slot motion on 3rd and 7. Arline bobbles the snap, rolls to his right. Not known for his throwing. He's going to launch near left side. A chance Warren one-on-one, and it sails out of bounds. Caught by a helmetless Army player who held it aloft and then lobs it back to Warren. And Army holds. Surprised to see a designed rollout pass there?
Well, I'm okay with that, but I think Arline should have thought about running it. You know, they thought they could come back and throw it to the man who went in motion and that maybe he'd get lost. But Cedric Cunningham, the outstanding junior free safety for Army, was all over it. That was a predetermined play who they were going to throw it to. They didn't really give Arline any other options.
So 4th down and 7, scoreless, 6 minutes, 1 second to go, first quarter. Daniel Davies to punt. Bit of a high snap. He handles, gets the right-footed kick off. Tyrell Robinson launching forward from the 20, brings it into the 23, makes a man miss at the 25, stiff arms a man at the 30, bangs it outside left and dances out of bounds at around the 33. Solid return for the spectacular freshman, and Army will have its 2nd possession. Your score, no score, a tight one with barely visible conditions. 5:49 to go in the first quarter. You're listening to the Army-Navy game on Westwood 1.
Hulu has live sports, which means you can watch football on Hulu Plus Live TV. That's right, from the biggest games to your favorite players like Baker Mayfield. Catch the action live on Hulu. Plus, get access to over 65 live channels and the largest streaming TV library, including exclusive originals and the hottest shows and movies. Start your free trial today so you don't miss a moment. Live TV plan required. Restrictions apply. Learn more at Hulu.com.
If you need to hire, you need Indeed. When you upgrade your job post, Indeed immediately delivers candidates from our resume database who fit your job criteria. Let Indeed sift through resumes so you can focus on selecting your top candidates. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Receive a $75 sponsored job credit when you post a job at Indeed.com/credit. That's Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Before you drive the all-new Nissan Rogue, you got gotta ask yourself, how rogue are you gonna go? We talking be one with nature in the desert rogue? Go snowshoeing in Alaska rogue. Or take the long way home just because kind of rogue? Just a question, but with 5 available drive modes, you're sure to find the answer.
Go rogue in the all-new, fiercely reimagined 2021 Nissan Rogue, now with the most standard safety features in its class. See Owner's Manual for important safety information. Auto Pacific segmentation. 2021 Nissan Rogue versus latest in market competitors. Base models compared.
Let's get him in the call. Brock Purdy of Iowa State, the Davey O'Brien quarterback of the week for last week. 20 of 23, 247 yards, 3 touchdown passes. Had another on the ground with 7 carries for 38 yards. A 42-6 romp over West Virginia. Fans, your vote on social media can help determine the Davey O'Brien National Quarterback Award winner for 2020. Log on to DaveyO'Brien.org for details. No score, Army-Navy, 5:49 to go first quarter. John Sadak, Ross Tucker, Tina Cervasio. Officially, Army's return spotted at the 35, a 12-yard return for Tyrell Robinson. So Army will once again have Tyler Tyler at quarterback. 4 different starting quarterbacks, Ross, for Army this year. First time since 1994. 6 different men took snaps in games at QB.
Well, and not only that, John, you know, you just said it. It wasn't just the 4 guys that started. They've had a couple other guys play as well. And you want to hear the craziest part about it? Jabari Laws was anticipated to be the starting quarterback this year. He's not even one of those 6. Jabari Laws got hurt during camp and didn't take a single snap.
So instead, Tyler, who is making his second career start, second in as many games, with 3 weeks in between, is back out under center. Santa McCoy, the deep back. Far left hash, Army begins to drive at its own 35. Second possession for the Black Knights, scoreless. Tyler takes the snap and gives to McCoy, launching right up the gut of the Navy defense. But Donald Berniard Jr., John Marshall, and many others, including Jarius Warren, who starred in this game a year ago, silence him after 2.
John, I think this might be the hardest it's ever been for me to see the players on the field in a game. I mean, it is really foggy. We're on the 5th floor here of the Mikey Stadium press box. We are way up high. There is a dense fog. It's easier for me to see off the monitor here because the players are in the fog. Take me back to my early Eagles fandom days.
Second down and 8 on the snap, fake to the fullback, keeper by Tyler, but he gets smashed at the 40 as Mitchell West hammers him on the hip. That'll be a gain of 3. Third down and 5 for Army. 5 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Good sign for Navy when you got your safety West making the tackle for only a 3-yard gain. He actually led them in tackles last week against Tulsa. Thought it was cool seeing this week the picture of West with John Radigan, the leading tackler for Army. They played Pop Warner football together. Now they're playing against each other in the Army-Navy game. That is pretty cool.
And did so in Pop Warner in suburban Chicago. Shotgun split backfield. Navy showing blitz. Shotgun snap. Fake the handoff. Keeper for Tyler. He's got nowhere to go. Diego Fagot, the first to meet him. Gets some help from a few others, but Fagot, the tackle right at the line of scrimmage. No gain. 4th down and 4. Another punt coming for Army.
Well, this is one of their best plays. It's quarterback counter, but you have to have somebody blocking the play side linebacker. So either Jordan Law, the freshman left tackle who pulled, or somebody on the play side has to have eyes for 54.
Here's the snap. Zach Harding, right-footed punt, shot in the air. Mark Walker retreating, rolling to his right, grabs it at the 18, and gets hammered hard as he loops to his right, blown up on the left hip, and driven into his sidelines at around the 22. Some whistles, there's some barking thereafter between both teams, and Army races off after fierce contact on special teams.
It is so fun watching these guys get after it, both sides of the ball, knowing that so many of them are going to be working together over the next 5 years.
One of the most intensely physical games you'll ever hear or see. No score, 3:51 to go first quarter, Army and Navy. You're listening to the Army-Navy game on Westwood One.
This is ATG by Wrangler. Before your next adventure, you better check your gear. UV protection, water repellent fabric, durable comfort stretch. Check. ATG by Wrangler. Gear that doesn't compromise. Shop Wrangler.com.
The NFL family is committed to conversations and actions that advance social justice and move us towards a more equal and just tomorrow. The NFL created Inspire Change to reduce barriers to opportunity and create progress in police community relations, criminal justice reform, education, and economic advancement. Join NFL players, clubs, and the league in ensuring that access to opportunity is a reality for all. It takes all of us to end racism and hate. Learn more at NFL.com/inspirechange.
Ugh, I have to do laundry when I get home. I have to lug all my clothes over to the washing machine. Then I get to put them in the dryer and accidentally shrink my cashmere sweater again.
Motorcycles make everything exciting. And when Geico makes it easy to switch and save on motorcycle insurance, it's even more exciting.
I'm gonna fold all my socks into little balls. Yeah!
Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Chevy salutes those who serve our country. We're proud to offer a military discount to those in active service, reservists, veterans, and retirees of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard, plus their spouses and household. To learn more, visit ChevySalutes.com. That's ChevySalutes.com, the official vehicle of America's game. Chevrolet, find new roads.
Haircut, shirt tucked, Wrangler 5-star jeans on. Let's make the most of tonight. Wherever you are, you can feel comfortable enough to step out of your comfort zone in the premium quality and style of Wrangler 5-star jeans. Shop Wrangler.com.
Welcome back to Mikey Stadium at West Point. Along with Ross Tucker and sideline reporter Tina Servasio, I'm John Sadak. You're listening to the Army-Navy game on Westwood 1, brought to you by USAA. What you're made of, we're made for. Proud presenter of America's game. Navy set for its second possession. 3:51 to go first quarter. Mids at their own 23. Set to go right to left. Clad in white with the marble blue shoulder pads and helmet. Army in the olive drab top and the gray pants with the olive helmet and the electric strawberry logo on the side of the helmet. Nelson Smith, the running back, sidecar shotgun. Xavier Arline, snap on the far right hash. He takes the snap, option roll to his left, reverse field, makes a man miss, makes a second miss, and then the third man in chops him down for a loss of 1 that should have been a loss of 2 or 3.
Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty exciting and impressive 1-yard loss there by Arline. He was trying to run that same thing, quarterback zone. Basically, they have a lead fullback in front of them. Army was all over that. He cut it back and made one Army defender, couldn't catch who it was, totally whiffed in the backfield, but then the cavalry came. And, you know, usually, John, you say the cavalry came, you just, like, in the Army, Navy, like, it really is the cavalry.
If they had horses out there, it might be easier to identify.
Then the infantry came.
Here they go in pistol depth with 2 backs, one behind, one to the right on 2nd and 11. Arline fake the option right, shakes off a big hit. He steamrolls the defender at the 29 and trucks the second to the 31. He earned an extra 2 yards the hard way. And it'll be 3rd down and 2 after Cedric Cunningham was on the wrong side of harm.
Yeah, and that was an option play, but Nelson Smith was not an option as the fullback dive. He led, and Arline took a gigantic hit from Marquell Broughton, who's a stud safety as a sophomore for Army, but Arline took it and kept going. Give the young guy some credit. 165-pound freshman shrugged him off and got a couple more yards.
He was a major lacrosse star in high school, was offered a chance to play football and lacrosse at North Carolina. Shotgun on 3rd and less than 2. Slot motion from Williams, direct snap, but a flag. It looked like a designed run for Arline, but instead, Carlinos Acey with movement for Navy.
False start. Offense. Left wing back. 5-yard penalty. Remains. 3rd down.
So now each team has had a procedural penalty before 3rd down, change it dramatically.
Right, that's obviously tough to overcome for any offense, but it's like devastating for these offenses. I mean, it just makes it so tough. And AC moved while there was another player in motion. You can't do that. You can't have 2 guys in motion at the same time. Creates a totally different situation. 3rd and long now. We'll probably see the second pass attempt for Arline unless they think they can run for it.
Williams in slot motion. Pistol depth on 3rd and 7. Handoff goes to Nelson Smith. A keeper by Arline, who gets hit down at the 26. Ball popped free, but he was marked down first. And he will get no gain here as the Army defense stands once more. This game has been about defense in this first quarter, Ross.
Well, and this is what we expected, right? I mean, Army is in the top 10 in so many categories. Total defense, passing defense, scoring defense.
And that's in all of the FBS. Army also leads the country with 7 blocked kicks. They got in the neighborhood of Daniel Davies before his punt last time around. Davies, the primary punter most of the year for Navy. They had switched to Ben Fee in recent weeks, but Davies will do the duties for a second time. And so the outstanding return man, Tyrell Robinson, he can make plays. He's set up at his own 35.
Right, but the other thing I think we need to mention is Navy's only allowed 14.5 points per game the last 2 games after averaging 37 points against them the first 7. So both these defenses come into this game hot.
Here's the snap. Kick is barely off for Davies. Robinson inching forward. Fair catch wave. Cannot handle it. It bounces and caught by Navy, but the fair catch wave was made with no contact. There is a flag down as well.
This will be kick-catch interference. Brennan takes it in for a touchdown. But as Robinson went to field the ball, he got hit.
And the flag came out immediately as whistles blared before the ball was even grabbed by
Kick-catch interference. Kicking team. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Contact from Austin Talbert Loving covering on special teams. So a penalty goes against Navy here on specials. For a scoring update, let's send it back to Jason Horowitz in our Westwood One studios.
John, number 1 Alabama beat Arkansas for a 13th straight year, 52-3. That's not the story. The story is they finished off the first ever 10-0 regular season conference season. Remember, the SEC went to a 10-game all-SEC schedule this year. They'll have Florida in Atlanta next week, the SEC championship game. We'll have it right here on Westwood One. John?
Appreciate that, Jason. Thank you very much. As we have 1:09 to go in the first quarter, scoreless for Army and Navy. We go downstairs to check in with Tina.
John, I know you and Ross have been talking about the fog settling in. It's hard for you to see from the press box. So I am standing in the south end zone where it says Army, and it is very difficult to see the north end zone where it says Navy. Now, you could see where the Navy midshipmen, of course, they're wearing their Navy uniforms with the white hat, so it makes them stand out a bit. But the fog gets lower and lower. The visibility is getting harder and harder. So whether you're wearing white or that drab olive green, it seems like everyone's blending into the atmosphere here at Michie Stadium.
Appreciate that, Tina. That is very much the case. I mean, Ross, it feels like we are in the middle of the night. It is that dark from fog. Even the lights can't quite cut through it. They are muted and nearly nullified as they stand high above the playing surface here.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, it is not easy to see the detail of the players on the field. I mean, you can certainly see the action, but it's hard to see their jersey numbers, and sometimes it's actually hard to see who has the ball just because you and I, up this high, we're cutting through some fog to even see the action down there.
With that in mind, Ross, does that have any factor with 2 greener quarterbacks that are more run-oriented by nature? That's the nature of this game. Does that creep up defenses? Does that open possibilities of a dynamic pass play if you connect?
Well, the thing that's interesting about this is that usually when you're on the field, it's not nearly as noticeable, right? So we're up high. Fog, obviously, is the higher you go, the more dense the fog is. So down on the field, and you just heard Tina talk about, I don't think it's that much of a factor. I guess I just wonder a little bit if the Army uniforms are a factor. You guys keep calling them drab, by the way. Is that like the official thing? Drab olive?
Yeah, it is a drab olive.
Drab?
Yeah.
But drab's like a downer. Drab sounds bad. I like
it's a muted dark color. It's not saying it's bad.
No, when someone says something's drab, they're knocking. I think it's a lovely olive, not a drab olive. It's a lovely olive.
The ever-optimistic Ross Tucker. By the way, word, Peter Nestrowitz, starting right guard for Navy, is currently in the medical tent. Shotgun split backfield as Tyler takes the snap, gives it off to Tyrell Robinson, but whistles Blair as he's contacted at the 46 Navy territory by Jackson Perkins. They're starting in. That'll be a gain of a yard. 2nd and 9 Army at Navy's 46. Inside of a minute to go first quarter, scoreless.
They really need to get something done on this drive. They've got outstanding field position here. This has to be at least 3 points. If you're Army and you're starting to drive in Navy territory because of the kick-catch interference, this is something where you got to feel like you got to get some points on the board. Interesting, it looks like Army has their second center, Noah Knapp, in the game.
Tyler under center, drops back, looking to throw, loads up and fires a wobbler near right. It's caught in stride by Robinson near the sideline, dances back in play. Mikey McMorris hits him down and tackles him at the 18-yard line. A big play in the air to the A-back freshman Tyrell Robinson.
This kid has been an absolute weapon since game 1 as a freshman. He was in the slot back position. They lost him. They totally dropped the coverage. It looked to me like Nicholas Straw thought he was in zone coverage and then realized way too late he actually had Robinson man-to-man.
A 28-yard gain as Army lets the clock expire. Today's broadcast of the Army-Navy game on Westwood 1, sponsored by Chevrolet, the official vehicle of America's game. And so Army and Navy, a slugfest, but the combination of field position altered by play and certainly a penalty on that last return for Army in the Black Knights' favor. They are in the red zone. Through the first quarter, no score. Navy and Army. You're listening to the Army-Navy game on Westwood 1, presented by USAA.
USAA is made for the military community. Whether you're currently serving, a veteran who served honorably, or eligible family members, we can help you manage your money and protect what's important. It's all about having your back, and it's been that way since we were founded in 1922. USAA, proud presenter of America's game.
USAA. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliate, San Antonio, Texas.
Serving our nation takes courage. It's a selfless commitment. Veterans with service-connected disabilities, Purple Heart recipients, former POWs, and primary family caregivers can now shop in-store at the Exchange, Commissary, and MWR resale facilities. For more information, visit shopmyexchange.com/vets. You fought. You sacrificed. You earned this benefit.
Before you drive the all-new Nissan Rogue, you gotta ask yourself, how rogue are you gonna go? We talking be one with nature in the desert rogue? Go snowshoeing in Alaska rogue? Or take the long way home just because kind of rogue? Just a question, but with 5 available drive modes, you're sure to find the answer.
Go rogue in the all-new, fiercely reimagined 2021 Nissan Rogue, now with the most standard safety features in its class. See Owner's Manual for important safety information. Auto Pacific segmentation. 2021 Nissan Rogue versus latest in market competitors. Base models compare.
Looking to make a difference? Looking for more than a college degree? Determined not to settle for the ordinary, the routine, or the easy? The United States Naval Academy can open doors to leadership opportunities, a world-class education, and the chance to immediately serve your country in meaningful ways that change lives for the better. Visit usna.edu/admissions and begin your journey now.
Jim Rome here. Dell Technologies end of the year sale is the perfect time to upgrade your small business with the latest tech. Save big on the latest business computers powered by Intel Core processors. And do not forget to shop servers, storage, plus thousands of top brand electronics, all with free shipping on everything. Yes, everything. Every small business has unique needs, and when you call a Dell Technologies advisor, they can help you identify just the right tech for your business. So do it. Call 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. Call today.
Napa know-how. Right now, get a 5-quart jug of Napa full synthetic motor oil and a platinum filter for just $22.98. They're an iconic duo like salt and pepper, a hammer and a nail, or the holidays and awkward hugs. You can't get one without the other. That's Napa full synthetic and a platinum filter for just $22.98. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how. Napa know-how. General states pricing. Sales price does not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer ends 12/31/20.
Join us again next Saturday when Westwood One brings you another great college football matchup. Alabama, Florida in the SEC Championship. Ted Emmerich, Derek Rackley will have all the action beginning for you at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. For more details or to listen to the live stream for free, visit WestwoodOneSports.com. If it's NCAA football, it's on Westwood One. Army is on Navy's 18-yard line. Second quarter getting underway. Scoreless. Tyler under center. Give to the fullback, and not a whole lot as Navy is right on the spot, led by John Marshall. Ball came free after contact from Diego Fagot and Marshall. As they only get to the 19, it'll be a loss of a yard. It'll be second down and 11 for Army, which in the red zone gets touchdown 77% of the time. Navy's defense only allows TDs 54% of the time in the red zone.
Yeah, there is just nothing there on the fullback dive, and Diego Fagot, the junior, for Navy, so impressive. Third year starting in this game, second in the AAC in tackles per game, fifth in tackles for loss. He read that right from jump.
Second 11, Tyler under center. 2 steps back, launches to his left, led by a couple of backs, stiff arm, and gets hit and yanked down by Mitchell West, trying to stretch it out to the left. Gets only to the 18. That'll be a gain of a yard. Third down and 10. Are you already thinking about 4 downs here?
Well, not if it's 3rd and 10. I mean, you're going to have to get a heck of a lot closer than this to think about going forward on 4th down, because any points are going to be precious in this game. I was telling people all week studying for the game, John, I thought it'd be 10-7, maybe 13-10. I wasn't expecting a whole lot of points, and so far that's looking like it's going to be the case.
Zayden McCoy, the deep fullback. Tyler, 3rd and 10, near left hash. Navy a crowded front. Robinson showed motion. Now a change of play with 4 on the play clock for Tyler. 2 on the play clock, back under center. The snap, Tyler to his right. Popped and dropped at the 20. Loss of a couple. Jarius Warren. It's 4th down and 12.
Well, I don't know what they audible to. It looked like it was some type of quarterback run to the right, but it was so slow developing. And Chris Cameron, the backside tight end, it was an unbalanced set to the right. He was not even close to cutting off Jarius Warren on the backside. This defensive line for Navy is off to a terrific start.
So here's a 37-yard field goal try from Quinn Moretsky, who was just 1 of 1 on the year, a make from 40. Right to left kick, snap, spot clean, right-footed kick sails in the air. It is good. And Moretsky converts from 37 yards out. Army claims the first points of the game. 12:41 to go in the second quarter. Army 3, Navy nothing. This is Westwood One's coverage of the Army-Navy game. Let's check the drive summary, sponsored by the Nissan Rogue, proud supporter of college athletics and premier partner of the Heisman Trophy. Army gets the game's first points after a 6-play, 28-yard drive that consumed 3 minutes and 28 seconds. The payoff, the second career field goal attempt and make for Quinn Moretsky as he converts from 37-yard out in a fierce and unyielding fog. A 3-0 Army lead, 12:41 to go in the second quarter. We do have big word for Navy, by the way. Starting right guard Peter Nestrowitz is out. He is being taken to the hospital. He was poked in the eye by an Army defender. So Peter Nestrowitz, that's a major change for what's been a makeshift and rather fluid offensive line on the season as it is.
Right. Honecker and Nestrowitz are the guys that really came into this game with experience in this game, in the Army-Navy game from a year ago.
And so Army to the field to kick. Landon Salyers does those duties. He's handled most field goals on the year, but Moretsky did so in the back end of the Abilene Christian game and did so to begin this game. Navy very rarely tries to return kicks. Chance Warren is their primary kick returner, averages 22 per. They did take more chances with Warren in the season's last couple of weeks against powerhouses, nationally ranked Tulsa, and a Memphis team among the national scoring leaders. Well, the fog continues to intensify dramatically. it is incredibly difficult to see even across the field. Salyers slams his foot into the football and launches a more than deep enough bomb. No chance to return it. A touchback as we go downstairs to Tina.
John, as the Army defense takes the field all season long, head coach Jeff Monken has just been so pleased with his defensive coordinator, Nate Woody, in his first year at Army. He was hired to come to West Point in January. Right away, he went out on the road to start recruiting, but then, and that was all through February, and then the pandemic hit. Everybody was locked down. Do you know he never met with one of the Army defensive players face-to-face until June 1st, but what he has done virtually, and then when he got to work with the players hands-on, he has just created this incredible defense, as well as putting together a very good defensive staff, teaching these players and just getting that working knowledge that is built throughout the season.
Appreciate that. Navy first and 10 at its own 25. A full house backfield as the give goes to the fullback. Nelson Smith gets popped at the 27 and dropped there. A gain of a couple of yards. Of note, Bryce Teixeira has taken over for Nestrowitz at the right guard spot. Teixeira had been the starting left guard, but had been moved to the bench when they moved Billy Honecker from tackle to guard against Memphis a few weeks ago. Officially a gain of 1. Second down and 9. Contact by John Radigan, who's been an amazing story for Army.
He has. By the way, before I forget, I got a tweet from Joey Jones, the former Marine and Fox contributor, as well as a text from my former teammate Andy Wolfram. Olive drab green, OD green, that's an official Army term, official military term. So there's no negative connotation to it.
And no former Marines either. Arline the snap, looping to his left, spins off the first hitter, and then Eric Smith lassos him down at around the 28, a couple of yards there. Third down and 7, 11:42 clock rolls second quarter. Army leads 3-0. It does feel like field position has shifted to Army in the last half quarter.
Yeah, and field position is huge in this game. I mean, when you think it's going to be a low-scoring game and points are at a premium, anytime you can get a 3 and out, like Army has a chance to get here, they could once again get the ball near midfield.
Xavier Arline has attempted 1 pass thus far today. He entered with only 8 total passes on his career. Look out for Michael Cooper's big wideout. Barking commands on 3rd and 7. Shotgun snap, rolling right, cut back left. He sees a hole and he launches. Takes off to the 30, sheds a hit 32. Hit from behind and knocked down at the 34-yard line. Contact from Amadeo West. That'll be a gain of about 6. It's 4th down and a yard, but well on Navy's side of the field. Punt unit trots out.
Yeah, kind of like a sprint draw there. You fake the roll right, and then you come all the way back to the left. So the offensive line looks like they're pass blocking, and then our line cut it back behind them. Interesting decision here. I got to tell you, I think Jeff Monken would probably go for this here on 4th and short, but Niumatalolo does not want to do that. It's about 1.5 yards, and he's back in his own territory again.
So here's the snap to Davies, the punter, with a 3-man wall in front of him, launches a right-footed kick in the air. Robinson inching forward, brings the ball in, bobbles it with a fair catch. Brennan right next to him as he plummets down, and Army will have the ball at about its own 34-yard line with no return. 3-0 Army on top of Navy, 10:14 to go in the second quarter. You're listening to the Army-Navy game on Westwood 1.
We made USAA insurance for members like Martin, a veteran made of conviction. He believes if you're going to do something, you should do it right, like measuring twice and cutting once. So when a hailstorm hit his house and his car, USAA reached out to him before he could even inspect the damage. Martin said, "That's how you do it right." His roof and car were fixed up before his neighbor could even get started. USAA insurance is made the way members like Martin and his family need it, with hassle-free claims service to help get you back to normal fast. Save more when you bundle home and auto. Get a quote today at usaa.com/insurance. USAA, what you're made of, we're made for. Ability to receive a quote depends on membership eligibility. Product, membership eligibility, and bundling savings restrictions apply and are subject to change. United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
This is Jim Rome here to tell you about my podcast, the Jim Rome Podcast. Every single week, I drop brand new episodes of long-form, candid conversations with A-list guests like Tony Hawk, Lamar Jackson, Brooks Koepka, Jimmy Connors, and Danny DeVito.
It's like a gift to have people who are as enthusiastic as you about something. If the people are good and they're fun to be with, why not hang out with them?
I have done around 150 of these, and I am not stopping anytime soon, so get subscribed today. The Jim Rome Podcast. Look for it wherever you get your podcasts.
There's the snap now to Cunningham on 1st and 10 with no huddle. He fires the left side, and it's intercepted, I believe. Intercepted by the Bears and returned downfield. Now I can't see. There is jubilation on the sidelines and on the field in the stands. Stepped out at the 36. Stepped out of the 36-yard line of Philadelphia. An interception. We could not see who intercepted the pass. I wonder if it's Mo Douglas. It is Mo Douglas. Who comes across the field through the fog with the football in his left arm and takes high fives from everyone and gets a hug from Mike Ditka. And the Bears have it at the Eagle, 36-yard line, I believe.
That's Wayne Larrabee of the WBBM Chicago Bears Radio Network, the famous Fog Bowl, New Year's Eve. 1988, Randall Cunningham threw for over 400 yards, picked off 3 times. Bears took it 20-12 over the Birds that day. Reminiscent of this scene, the fog is the worst it's been. It keeps intensifying. We're at the point where we can hardly identify players or see the football. It's 3-0 Army, 10:14 to go in the second quarter. Army set to begin a drive at its own 34.
Well, I'm just telling you, on that last punt, Tyrell Robinson, when he fielded the ball between the fog and his OD green uniform, I could not see him. I could not see that young man field that punt. That's what it's like for us up here. Thank goodness for the television monitors in the booth.
So the Army Black Knights with field position shifting in their favor. A solid starting spot. Navy has creeped everyone up close to the line, not believing throws will come for Tyler, who takes the snap, hands it off to Robinson, and Tyrell Robinson goes airborne, gets clipped in the air and knocked down at the 36. Gain of a couple. Diego Fago, another tackle. He's been everywhere for Navy.
Little inside trap there where Mike Johnson, the senior captain left guard's trying to kick out the defensive end. Pretty clear so far in this game that Army is making a concerted effort to get the ball to Robinson, who's second in all of FBS football, 8.7 yards per touch from scrimmage.
Only Travis Dye of Oregon is better. 2nd and 8. Option pitch, nearly lost. Leaning forward, Sandon McCoy stumbles as he brings in the football with contact at the 34, but he was able to latch onto it. Jarius Warren in the area there. And that'll be a loss of a couple of yards. It's 3rd down and 10. A lot of 3rd and longs on each side.
The timing of that play just seemed off. Tyler didn't field it cleanly, and then he threw the ball so far ahead of McCoy. McCoy really did well just to catch that football and secure it. That could have been a huge mistake for the Black Knights.
3rd down and 10, Army at its own 34, leading 3-0 from under center to shotgun split backfield for Tyler. Navy crowds the front, bit of a high snap, fake left, launch right, running out of a tackle from Perkins and out of another tackle from Marshall. 3rd and 4th men in for the midshipmen. Take out Tyler at the 36, gain of 2. It's 4th down and 8. And the punters and the return men getting plenty of time on each side.
A lot of window dressing there with Brahim Murphy coming around what they call ghost motion around the other way. The line going left. You have Cade Bernard leading him to the right. Navy's not falling for it. Not at all. And Jackson Perkins, the senior defensive end, is off to an absolutely terrific start in this game. The only guy on defense to start the whole year.
Clean snap, right-footed kick for Harding, just barely off. Walker didn't get a good read. Makes an over-the-shoulder grab at the 15. Big circle to his left. It gets clipped by a pursuing Black Knight and dropped back at the 12-yard line. Excellent downfield pursuit, and we see the weather wreak havoc. That fog blurred the vision of Mark Walker, and Brandon Walters makes the special team stop. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is Westwood 1, your home for the Army-Navy game.
Identification. WPLE, Ormond Beach, 1380 The Cat.
Listen online at 1380thecat.com.
Army Army 3, Navy nothing, 8:12 to go in the second quarter. You're listening to a foggy Army-Navy game on Westwood 1.
Before you drive the all-new Nissan Rogue, you gotta ask yourself, how rogue are you gonna go? We talking be one with nature in the desert rogue? Go snowshoeing in Alaska rogue? Or take the long way home just because kind of rogue? Just a question, but with 5 available drive modes, you're sure to find the answer.
Go rogue in the all-new, fiercely reimagined 2021 Nissan Rogue, now with the most standard safety features in its class. See Owner's Manual for important safety information. Auto Pacific segmentation. 2021 Nissan Rogue versus latest in market competitors. Base models compared.
Do you have what it takes to become an officer in the United States Army? To live honorably? To lead honorably? And to demonstrate excellence? For over 200 years, the United States Military Academy, steeped in history, tradition, and the timeless values of duty, honor, country, has graduated leaders of character for the Army and the nation. Are you built to be part of the Long Gray Line? West Point, where leaders are made.
Today's horoscope brought to you by Geico.
People will take note of your sunny disposition, Sagittarius. That's because you just switched to Geico and discovered you could save hundreds of dollars a year on car insurance. However, your newfound inner glow may prompt unfounded rumors. Did you get a promotion? Or you want a juice cleanse? Did they give you too much anesthesia at your dentist appointment? Your secret is safe with us, Sagittarius.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
The greatest athletes and moments in sports are revealed from the unprecedented vantage point of Emmy Award-winning Hall of Fame broadcaster Jim Gray in his new book, Talking to Goats. Just ask Tom Brady, who wrote the foreword.
This book is sports history about some of the greats by one of the greats.
Ali, Jordan, Tiger, Kobe, Phelps, Tyson, LeBron. The moments you remember, the stories you never heard. Jim Gray's Talking to Goats is in bookstores now and at talkingtogoats.com.
Welcome back to Mikey Stadium at West Point, along with Ross Tucker and sideline reporter Tina Cervasio. I'm John Sadak. You're listening to the Army-Navy game on Westwood 1, brought to you by USAA. When you're made of, we're made for. Proud presenter of America's game. 3-0 Army leads Navy. A 37-yard field goal made by Quinn Boretsky. Navy begins to drive at its own 11. Xavier Arline under center. We can hardly see him. It's a thick, soupy, unforgiving fog. The snap and a give to Jamel Carruthers. The fullback has nothing. As soon as the ball meets his belly, Eric Smith gives a rude hello and drops him at the 10. Loss of 1, 2nd and 11.
Eric Smith, the junior linebackers, had a terrific season as well. The linebackers for both of these teams are triggering so well on these fullback dives. That's their responsibility, and credit them for having the discipline to not get eyes for the quarterback or the option game. They are downhill, smacking that fullback right in the mouth.
We had a shot in the Navy booth from the telecast of Navy defensive coordinator Brian Newberry bent over so deeply, peering with the hardest strain of his eye to try to see the field and call his defense. Arline takes the snap, option roll to his left, doesn't have a lot of room, slips behind the back of Billy Honecker, scraping on his backside into the clutches of Amadeo West. And he gets dropped at around the 13, gain of 3. It'll be 3rd and 8.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, John, I am working off the monitor now because I can barely see the players on the field. So it's easier for me to see on the monitor. And I got to tell you, it's getting worse on the monitor on these snaps, right? I mean, it's getting to the point where it's not even that easy to see on the monitor itself.
Well, the old Fog Bowl, Bears and Eagles, remember that was Vern Lundquist on CBS back in 1988. Uncle Vern, of course, longtime television voice of this game before handing the reins over to Brad Nessler and the continued coverage of Gary Danielson. Motion from C.J. Williams, shotgun split backfield, 3rd and 7. Give to the back, and Army reads it beautifully. Nolan Cockrell with a violent harm at the 15-yard line. Eric Smith giving help as well. Gain of a hard 2, 4th down and 6.
I mean, people listening or watching, you just don't see this. 3rd and 8, and you get a fullback dive. It's a fullback trap, and they were all over it. John Radigan all over it. Eric Smith all over it. Going to be another punt. I mean, we might not have very many more points. I'm just telling you.
And this punt to come from only a yard in front of the end zone. Clean snap, Daniel Davies, right-footed kick launched in the air. Tyrell Robinson, we can't see him. He can't see the ball. It drops down to the 50. Mark Walker in pursuit for Navy on his knee, scrambling, makes contact at the 45 in Army territory. And that's where the Black Knights will begin their next possession. For a scoring update, let's send it back to Jason Horowitz. He's in our Westwood One studios.
All right, John, thank you very much. 17th ranked North Carolina leading number 10 Miami 7-3. They're midway through the opening quarter. Remember, the ACC championship already set, though, with Clemson and Notre Dame squaring off in a rematch next week. Meanwhile, number 16 Iowa has a 3-0 lead over Wisconsin late part of the opening quarter. Hawkeyes trying to win a 6th straight after an 0-2 start. But again, the Big Ten championship already set. Ohio State Northwestern next week as well. John?
Appreciate that kindly, Jason. And by the way, here we can no longer see the stanchions or the supports of the lights. We can only see the lights themselves as if they're floating in the air 100 feet above the field. The fog is that dense. Time now to Ask the Pros, where we ask our analyst a question submitted by you, one of our listeners, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices, excellent customer service at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Today's question comes from Andrew in Annapolis, home of the midshipman. He asks, has the Commander-in-Chief trophy ever not been determined by the Army-Navy game outcome? While Ross Tucker takes some time to think about that answer, we remind you could submit your questions for our pros by tweeting us at Westwood One Sports using the hashtag AskThePros, or log on to westwoodonesports.com/AskThePros. Sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts. So a 3-0 Army lead, 5:53 to go, second quarter. Army poised to begin a drive at its own 45. And Ross, the only points in this game so far, the field goal make, but that doesn't happen without the nearly 20-yard pass from Tyler to Tyrell Robinson. It feels like teams, as this game goes on, each side may take a chance or two on a pass and run into a home run of a pass play.
It's really been the only big play of the game so far, and that combined with the field position for Army was what was able to get them the 3 points. I think you're right. I just don't see a big play coming in the run game. Remember this, okay? Army had 2 wins where they rushed for less than 250 yards. That was against the Citadel and Georgia Southern. 2 schools that also run different type of option offenses. So when you're that familiar with the keys, the reads, makes it so difficult to run on the other one. Although Army, once again, has really good field position here.
And so the Army unit back out onto the field, quarterbacked by Tyler. 5:53 to go, second quarter. Army leads it 3-0 at the Navy 45-yard line. Tyler working under center. His deep back, Anthony Adkins, the sophomore, 255 pounds. Tyler changing things up, picks his head up, pivots side to side, barking out new commands. Play clock at 15. He takes the snap. The give goes to his up back fullback, and Adkins, not cleanly grabbing it first time around, gets swallowed up by 3 different Navy defenders. Johnny Hodges, who started at weak linebacker. No Tama Tuatelli, one of Navy's top tacklers. He fills in for him today. He earns around the 47-yard line, gain of 2.
To your point, it is interesting, John, even though these teams run similar offenses, Army likes to go with bulk at fullback. They want 240 to 260 pounds to pound you. Navy typically likes the guys that are a little bit quicker, able to hit it up in the hole and maybe take it a long way.
Tyler under center, second officially 9. Another give goes to Adkins, and he continues to pound up the gut. It's Hodges with first contact, help from Jarius Warren. And they'll chop him down at the 41, gain of 2, third down and 6.
3rd and 6, especially this part of the field, gives them an option to look at this as 2 downs to get 6 yards. Now, if they get nothing here on 3rd down, Jeff Monken, I'm sure, will punt it and try to pin Navy deep and continue to play the field position game. But if they get 4 or 5, they will very likely go.
Each team 1 of 5 on third down. 3rd and 6. Tyler under center, takes the snap, play fake. A boot rolling to his right now with space. He takes off to the 40, the 35, makes Fago miss and gets hit from behind a launching Navy defender. Pushes him forward, and he's officially tackled at the 28. That'll be a gain of 13 and a first down, Army.
That is an awesome play call by Brett Davis, because they've run that play so many times with Tyrell Robinson, the power play. Instead, Tyler comes all the way back, and he gets a block from Santa McCoy on Fago. I'm not sure Tyler wouldn't have been better off staying outside of McCoy. I think he might have gone a long way, maybe even taken it to the house.
And whistles Blair before they could set up. Artis Hobbs had just checked into the game for Army, who, by the way, will be seeing some wideout time, a career running back. They are down 40 players today for various reasons, including 2 receivers.
The play clock has become inoperable. The play clock on the field.
Well, the conditions continue to change. The play clock is blank. So the officials are going to keep the play clock on the field. Take us out of the field, Ross. What does that mean for the quarterback and for the defense?
Well, first of all, it just came back on. So, I mean, I think that it's now operable again. So maybe we'll get another announcement or it'll tell the guys, hey, we're good now. But what it means is their officials have certain hand signals to tell you when it's 10 seconds, to tell you when it's 5 seconds.
Can you see
if
that
you're the
today?
quarterback? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and plus they're usually behind you.
Under 4 minutes, first half, 3-0 Army on 1st and 10. Another give to the fullback, and Navy is right there, only a couple of yards, a gang tackle. Today's broadcast of the Army-Navy game on Westwood 1 is brought to you by The Exchange. Visit shopmyexchange.com/bets. 3.5 to go second quarter. Each team has its full complement of 3 timeouts, 2nd and 8 Army at the Navy 26.
You know, if there is a good sign for Army, early on the fullback dive, they were getting nothing. Now they're getting 2, maybe 2.5, 3. That could end up being 4 to 6 in the second half.
Tyler under center, play fake, eludes Warren in the backfield, runs into the waiting arms of Kevin Brennan. John Marshall there as well. They stripped the ball free, but forward progress was stalled first.
Man, I love these safeties for Navy. You got a chance to see him a bunch this year. Kevin Brennan, Mitchell West, they are doing such a great job of reading, and they are stand-up stack tacklers. I mean, it's one-on-one with Tyler, and Brennan just stoned him right in his shoes. That was awesome.
Ball spotted, I think, at about the 23. It's honestly incredibly difficult to tell. We'll call it 3rd down at 4. 3-0 Army the lead. And this is the hardest visibility that I have ever experienced, and I'm sure that many have endured in the history of the game. Tyler, the snap off to his left. There's Brennan again, along with Fago and a few other midshipmen clawing at the ball. He does get to the 21-yard line, a gain of about 2 yards there. It'll be 4th down and a couple. What do you do?
21-yard line. I think you go for it. At 4th and 3, I'm sorry, I think you kick the field goal. 4th and 3, I think, would be difficult to be able to get the first down. And I like the idea of going up 6-0. You know, then Navy's probably going to have to get a touchdown to get the lead. The way they're moving the football, they haven't even gotten close to Army territory.
I cannot even see the arms of the officials that are nestled underneath the uprights. So Quinn Moretsky is on. About a 38-yard field goal try, dead between the hashes, right to left kick. Snap, spot, bobbled. The kick is off late, and it's off to the left wide, no good. Not a great snap. The spot was not pure. Moretsky started to the football, stuttered, and reset, and he misses wide left. On the 38-yard field goal try, it remains a field goal affair, 3-0 Army.
Yeah, it just didn't get a good job on the hold. I think the snap was okay, but it was not held cleanly. Moretsky had to really double clutch there, and by the time he actually kicked it, he hooked it.
So the holder, Rook Hosey, who's the backup punter, could not quite handle it. John Sadak, Ross Tucker here in the Grainger broadcast booth at Michie Stadium at West Point. For the ones who get it done on and off the field, there's Grainger. Get the supplies and solutions for every industry when you call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Xavier Arline under center for Navy, starting a drive at their own 21, down 3-zip. I cannot even see the arms of the officials that are nestled underneath the uprights. So Quinn Moretzky is on. About a 38-yard field goal try, dead between the hashes, right to left kick. Snap, spot, bobbled. The kick is off late, and it's off to the left wide, no good. Not a great snap. The spot was not pure. Moretzky started to the football, stuttered, and reset, and he misses wide left. On the 38-yard field goal try, it remains a field goal affair, 3-0 Army.
Yeah, it just didn't get a good job on the hold. I think the snap was okay, but it was not held cleanly. Moretzky had to really double clutch there, and by the time he actually kicked it, he hooked it.
So the holder, Rook Hosey, who's the backup punter, could not quite handle it. John Sadak, Ross Tucker here in the Grainger broadcast booth at Michie Stadium at West Point. For the ones who get it done on and off the field, there's Grainger. Get the supplies and solutions for every industry when you call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Xavier Arline under center for Navy, starting a drive at their own 21, down 3-zip. Fake to the back. Arline takes off himself with some shimmy and shake. He dips the shoulder and slithers past the first wave. Jeremiah Lowry got a hand on his shoulder pad along with Ryan Duran. He's down at around the 28-yard line. Gain of 7, 2nd and 3.
Navy's got to be in a hurry here. They don't pick up big yardage typically. They're not a passing team, and we're already down close to almost a minute left in the half.
3 timeouts at their own 28, 2nd and 3. Arline under center, takes the snap, bobbles it loose on the ground. Army and Arline both fall upon it. Each side claims it has it as they peel the pile.
Wow.
And it's Navy ball.
Navy got it. Arline, quick as a cat to jump back on that. That could have been disastrous. He never even got the ball in Nelson Smith, the fullback's belly. He never really even had it from the center, to be honest with you. He never fielded it cleanly. It's going to be that kind of game. You know, missed kicks, maybe blocked kicks. Wouldn't be surprised if somebody muffs a punt. We're starting to see some issues with the ball, and Navy letting the play clock go down here because they don't want to give Army a chance again in the half.
27 seconds on the quarter, 3 on the play clock. And with 1 on the play clock, we'll get a call timeout here from Navy. 22 seconds to go until halftime. Army is 3 timeouts. Navy now with 2. 3-0 Army. It'll be 3rd and 4, loss of a yard on that fumble by Arline. Recovered by Arline, the quarterback. As he had an intense bobble on the snap, we go downstairs to Tina. Tina, where are you? I can't see you.
I know. We can't see much, but I can see in front of me the Secretary of the Army, the Honorable Ryan McCarthy. Mr. Secretary, what are your thoughts of this Army-Navy game so far, sir?
We couldn't have asked for better weather.
Can you see the game? Are you able to see
Yes,
much
I
of it?
can. This is great.
Look, this history is being made here today. This is the first game at Michie Stadium in 77 years. What are your thoughts on the way that both academies were able to kick this game off?
Remarkable leadership by General Darrell Williams, our superintendent. The way he worked with Vice Admiral Sean Buck of the Naval Academy. A lot of hard work and effort. We made sure that all these cadets and midshipmen could get that experience. It's so important. And part of this experience is their cadetship.
And what has impressed you about the way the cadets, I mean, all of these young men and women here in the stands, were able to just soldier on and get through this pandemic, get through this semester, and get here today?
Well, it doesn't show you how bright the future is for America when you see the types of men and women here, what they've endured this year, yet the morale remains high, and they continue their development. They're going to be great officers in the U.S. Army.
Mr. Secretary, I saw you outside of the Foley Center here on the actual practice football field amongst the cadets before they did their march on. What were you talking about to a lot of them?
I just went out there to tell them how proud I am of all of them, the way they've endured throughout the course of the year, and most importantly, be careful when you get in the car and head home for the holidays, because they got a month off, they got to work out, they got to take care of themselves, and they're at home.
The Honorable Ryan McCarthy, Secretary of the Army, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Tina. Appreciate it.
Xavier Arline launching a pass on 3rd and 4, deep left side, looking for Michael Cooper. Off his hands, out of bounds, incomplete. Tight coverage from Army. as Navy takes a shot out of the call timeout and only burns 6 seconds. 3-0 Army, 16 seconds to go in the first half, and Navy will have to punt to Army, which has an electric return man, Ross. This half is not over.
Navy wanted a pass interference penalty, and I don't blame them. I mean, Javari Bordeaux was all over Walker there. I mean, I don't know how, or Cooper rather, I don't know how you don't call that if you're the officials. Maybe they thought he was out of bounds and it wasn't catchable. Also a good time to try to go to block a punt here, John.
5th punt try for Navy, which has only 2 first downs. Right-footed kick is barely off for Harding. Robinson, outstanding return man, watches it drop down to the 40, takes a heavy Navy roll, 35, 30, 25, riding up that far right hash, and gets down by the midshipman and Terrell Adams just inside of the 25. Only 2 seconds left, so it makes it moot. A 3-0 Army lead. Remember that Navy had won the toss and deferred. The midshipman will have the ball to begin the second. We'll get one final snap for Army.
Right, so they went to try to block the punt, so Robinson didn't even want to mess with it. You know, there's going to be no return to be had. Army will very likely just take a knee here and be happy that they go into the half with a lead.
This is a first half that has seen so far 133 yards of total offense combined. 133 yards of total offense. As they go to a victory-like formation for a knee, and the snap and a bent right knee to the ground for Tyler. You hear the gun sound off. Halftime arrives. Army a 3-0 lead on Navy in the most unforgiving visibility conditions that we know of in the history of this game, now in its 121st clash, Ross.
Hey, this is history on multiple levels. Being here at West Point, being barely able to see the players, and 131 yards of offense in the first half.
And so we have reached halftime, and your slight score, Army on top thanks to a Quinn Moretzky 37-yard field goal made. 3-0 Army leads Navy. When we return, Jason Horowitz rejoins us with the halftime report. You're listening to the Army-Navy game on Westwood One, presented by USAA.
This is ATG by Wrangler. Before your next adventure, you better check your gear. UV protection, water repellent fabric, durable comfort stretch, check. ATG by Wrangler. Gear that doesn't compromise. Shop Wrangler.com.
If you need to hire, you need Indeed. When you upgrade your job post, Indeed immediately delivers candidates from our resume database who fit your job criteria. Let Indeed sift through resumes so you can focus on selecting your top candidates. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Receive a $75 sponsored job credit when you post a job at Indeed.com/credit. That's Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
We made USAA life insurance for the ones you love. Life moves fast, so take the time to help protect their future. With USAA Life Insurance Company and USAA Life Insurance Company of New York, getting a quote is quick and easy. USAA, proud presenter of America's Game.
Life insurance provided by USAA Life Insurance Company, San Antonio, Texas, and in New York by USAA Life Insurance Company of New York, Highland Falls, New York. All insurance products are subject to state availability, issue limitations, and contractual terms and conditions.
Before you drive the all-new Nissan Rogue, you gotta ask yourself, how rogue are you gonna go? We talking be one with nature in the desert rogue? Go snowshoeing in Alaska rogue? Or take the long way home just because kind of rogue? Just a question, but with 5 available drive modes, you're sure to find the answer.
Go rogue in the all-new, fiercely reimagined 2021 Nissan Rogue, now with the most standard safety features in its class. See Owner's Manual for important safety information. Auto Pacific segmentation. 2021 Nissan Rogue versus latest in market competitors. Base models compare.
Haircut, shirt tucked, Wrangler 5-star jeans on. Let's make the most of tonight. Wherever you are, you can feel comfortable enough to step out of your comfort zone in the premium quality and style of Wrangler 5-star jeans. Shop Wrangler.com.
Welcome to the College Football Halftime Report on Westwood One. Sponsored by Wrangler Jeans. You think you know Wrangler Jeans? Check out Wrangler.com today to discover new styles and all the latest denim trends. Once again, here's your host, Jason Horowitz.
All right, always hard fought, always tough to win. Army, Navy. Not always this difficult to gain yards. Neither team 85 first half yards, but it is a 3-0 lead for the Black Knights over the Midshipmen at the half. Happy to have you back with us here in our Westwood One studios. We will get you back to Mikey Stadium to get you ready for the second half of this first Army-Navy clash at West Point since 1943. But let's get you caught up on everything else that is going on. And remember, this game normally played in its own spot, second weekend of December. There are no other games. That is not the case this year. Also, something else that is more of a first. You had a team go 10-0 in conference play. Number 1, Alabama, knocked off Arkansas today, 52-3, 13th straight win for Alabama in this series for Arkansas, but they finished the regular season 10-0 in an all-SEC conference slate, winning by an average of 33 a game. They will be into the SEC championship game next weekend. You'll hear it right here on many of these same Westwood One stations. They will take on the Florida Gators, who do finish their regular season later on tonight against LSU. That's a game that's made up from end of October. Meanwhile, number 9, Georgia on the road at 25th ranked Missouri, both coming off games that were canceled last week. Tigers are into the college football playoff rankings for the first time, and it was a 7-point Georgia lead at the half that, well, they just dominated the second half.
3 tight end set here. Give it to Zeus. Starts straight, bounces out left. He's gone. 20, 10, 5, touchdown. Never touched.
Zeus is Zamir White, and that's Scott Howard on the Georgia Bulldogs radio network from Learfield. IMG College put up 35-14. They win it 49-14. Bulldogs are 7-2. Missouri falls to 5-4. Both have rescheduled games for next weekend during the SEC Championship Day. We'll see if they get there, and that one of those will include Georgia's game against Vanderbilt, who right now is playing a game with 18 scholarship defensive players due to COVID-19 contact tracing and injuries. They are hosting Tennessee. It is a 7-0 Volunteers lead with 5:50 to go in the opening quarter. Tennessee trying to snap a 6-game skid on the season. Earlier today in the Big Ten, Illinois on the road at 14th ranked Northwestern. Northwestern already coming into this game winners of 5 straight in the rivalry over the Fighting Illini. But today, they were all over the place on the ground against Illinois.
4th down and 4. Caps on 4th down today, 3 out of 4. Here's the snap and the give, and bursting through for a first down and more to the 10 to the 5. Touchdown. Evan Hull breaking free for a touchdown run. On 4th down, the Wildcats break it open with 4:02 to go in the third quarter.
Northwestern's Dave Ainit from Learfield IMG College up 28-3. They win it 28-10, 6-1 on the season. Illinois falls to 2-5. 411 rushing yards today for the Wildcats. Their first 400 rushing day in 18 years. They will play Ohio State next week in the Big Ten title game. Remember, the Big Ten this week changed what was the requirement of 6 conference games or 6 games as the minimum. They changed that this week, so Ohio State at 5-0 will be in the Big Ten championship game, despite the day today with Michigan, the game today with Michigan being canceled. Number 16, Iowa has a 3-0 lead over Wisconsin. That's got 12 minutes to go in the second quarter. Hawkeyes are looking for a 6th straight win on the season after starting 0-2. Minnesota went to Nebraska, won 24-17. Gophers finished the regular part of the season 3-3. Nebraska falls to 2-5. By the way, Minnesota won that game while missing 33 players. Michigan State had a 21-10 lead at Penn State. Nittany Lions roared all the way back.
Dotson awaits his punt at his own 30. Behringer takes it, kicks it out of there. Backpedaling is Dotson. Jaheim will take it at the 19. Swings near side with an opening 25, 30. Dotson 35, 40. Dotson cuts inside 45, 50. He's to the 40. Dotson's going to go. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Penn State. Jahan Dotson takes the punt return to the house.
Penn State, Steve Jones, Learfield IMG College, the call. He's one of the best wide receivers in the nation and gave them the victory, 39-24. Nittany Lions, after the worst start in school history, 0-5, finished with 3 consecutive wins. Speaking of 3 wins, Rutgers in overtime beats Maryland 27-24. Scarlet Knights, 3 Big Ten wins in this different season. They had 3 combined Big Ten wins the last 3 years. They go 3-5 this season. It is 3-0. Army, the lead over Navy at the half. When we return, the rest of the scores around the country of games that are being played today. You're listening to the Army-Navy game on Westwood One.
The Army and Air Force Exchange Service is committed to hiring 50,000 veterans and military spouses. The exchange offers unmatched employment benefits, including an associate transfer program, spousal hiring preferences, and benefits retention throughout your career. We assist spouses in maintaining a career while supporting their soldier or airman, often allowing them to retain job categories during moves. Learn more about exchange career opportunities at ApplyMyExchange.com.
The greatest athletes and moments in sports are revealed from the unprecedented vantage point of Emmy Award-winning Hall of Fame broadcaster Jim Gray in his new book, Talking to Goats. Just ask Tom Brady, who wrote the foreword.
This book is sports history about some of the greats by one of the greats.
Ali, Jordan, Tiger, Kobe, Phelps, Tyson, LeBron. The moments you remember, the stories you never heard. Jim Gray's Talking to Goats is in bookstores and at talkingtogoats.com.
Tyler under center, drops back, looking to throw, loads up and fires a wobbler near right. It's caught in stride by Robinson near the sideline, dances back in play. Mikey McMorris hits him down and tackles him at the 18-yard line. A big play in the air to the A-back freshman Tyrell Robinson.
John Sadek on the final play of the first quarter, the only completion of the first half, and the majority of the yards between the two teams. 3-0, Army the lead. That led to the only points, a field goal early in the second quarter. Jason Horowitz, glad to welcome you back, and you're listening to the Army-Navy game on Westwood One, brought to you by USAA. Join USAA to celebrate the game virtually at ArmyNavyHouse.com and enter for a chance to win a trip to the 2021 Army-Navy game in New York. Hopefully the pandemic is done and full fans in New York for that when we get to it in 2021. All right, a couple of other scores in the top 25. Number 17, North Carolina on the road at Miami. Again, Carolina's up 21-3 here, trying to move to 8-3 on the season. Miami could, with a win, finish just one loss, but they're not going to play in the ACC championship game. That already, Clemson and Notre Dame, as those two teams are off today. Meanwhile, number 21, Colorado came into the day undefeated. They lost at home 38-21 to Utah. That'll put USC in the Pac-12 championship game. What they'll have to do on the north side, though, that's up for grabs because Washington and Oregon were supposed to play today. For the winner goes to the Pac-12 championship out of the north. That game was canceled because of COVID-19 issues with Washington, and no word yet if they'll be able to field the team next Saturday, or Friday, I should say, for the Pac-12 championship. All right, when we return, we go back to Mikey Stadium, get you set for the start of the second half. John Sadek, Ross Tucker, Tina Cervasio on the other side. This is Westwood One's coverage of the Army.
Keys to the second half, sponsored by Capital One Bank. Capital One is right in the palm of your hand, so you can check your balance, deposit checks, pay bills, and transfer money from your phone. This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? Capital One NA, member FDIC. So outside of dissolving fog, what can each team do, Ross?
Well, for Navy, they need to flip the field, and it really starts with this first drive here of the second half. They played the entire first half of the game in their own territory. So it's going to have to be a big play. It doesn't seem like they're going to be able to sustain a drive. And then for Army, it's Tyler and Tyre. Those are the two guys that have been able to make plays for them, the sophomore quarterback, the freshman running back. That doesn't mean they should go away from the fullback, but those are going to be their playmakers.
For word of what the coaches had to say, let's go downstairs to Tina.
Well, Army head coach Jeff Monken said credit the Navy defense. They've come out with an even front. They normally play an uneven front. So that, Monken says, has bungled them up a bit, which is why they can't seem to get the offense going. Here's the situation with the fog. Jeff Monken is bringing down his offensive coordinator, Brent Davis. Davis cannot see the field. A lot of his coaches are struggling up there. So are the players, he said. When the ball gets in the air, he says they can't see anything. After the kick, I'll update you on what Ken Neal-Montololo has to say about the fog.
Appreciate that. Navy had won the toss and deferred, so the midshipmen will have the ball to begin the second. Army set to kick right to left. Big wrinkle for Army, by the way. That's not new for Brent Davis. While he's been upstairs most of his career, they had headset issues against UTSA. He was forced out of the field after that, so it will not be truly new ground for Army in this season. Landon Salyer slams the football teed up in the air. And it launches down the near left sideline. It goes out of bounds with a flag. So no touchback. It was angled out of play in front of Chance Warren, and we have a penalty to begin the second half with a kick out of bounds. We'll go back downstairs to Tina for word on Ken Niumatalolo.
So Coach Ken said our coaches can't see a thing. So he's bringing down both of his coordinators who call the plays from the box. So they will be down here on the field. But credit to Navy defensive coordinator Brian Newberry changing things up on the defensive side. He says we're bringing those linebackers in. So it's been very hard for Navy to for Army to effectively run the ball. However, of course, Coach Niumatalolo is very discouraged with the way his team is operating offensively. They've been struggling more sense going up the middle as well.
Appreciate that, Tina. And for Navy, offensive coordinator Ivan Jasper had been upstairs until issues with Malcolm Perry. For all of his exploits as a quarterback, trouble with communication. He went downstairs for Perry last year, had done it some this year. Brian Newberry had vertigo issues at his prior stop at Kennesaw State. It was mostly downstairs in his time in the FCS. So Xavier Arline shotgun split backfield. Navy at its own 35 near right hash. The snap and a launch to his left. A giant hole as he rides the crease in the left hash to the 40 to the 45 and gets stumbled there by Cedric Cunningham. A gain of 10 on the first play as they work out of the gun, first down.
Yeah, and that is an option play, but it's not triple option. This is more the stuff you see from like Georgia Southern and Coastal Carolina, where it's option out of the gun, and you really just have your fullback, Nelson Smith, leading up into the hole. They've had success with that play a couple times. I wouldn't be surprised if they start to major in it.
And again, a change at guard. Bryce Teixeira at right guard. Peter Nestrowitz, poked in the eye, was taken to the hospital in the first half. Motion from C.J. Williams. Navy at its own 46, down 3-0. Shotgun snap, a roll to the right. A tuck and a sprint for Arline. He's off to the 45, the 40, the 35, the 30. Makes a man miss at the 25. Banks it outside left to the 15. The 10 outside the numbers, the 5. Launches toward the pylon, and he's out of bounds. Only a yard shy of the end zone. Xavier Arline explodes down the field, weaving through the defense. Cedric Cunningham saves a touchdown.
What an absolutely perfect start for Navy to this second half. Arline looking like Malcolm Perry out there. He got some terrific blocks by the guys on the backside. And of course, as you see from these academies all the time, his receivers and running backs downfield, and got so close to the goal line.
Well, Navy just about matched its first half offense on that one play. They're going to spot the ball, it looks like, at the 2.
I think they're going to take another look at it just to make sure they have the spot right and that he didn't score. I think it's correct. Watching it a couple times here on the monitor in the booth, his knees were down before he reached his right hand out there. I'd say maybe the 1.5 yard line is where the ball should be correctly spotted.
Yeah, he launched extending the ball in his clenched right hand, and it certainly does appear that right knee is definitely down, and the right hip then starts to come down before he extends and loses the football into the pylon.
Yeah, so his knee came down at the 2, but I think the ball was more like the 1.5. So they just want to make sure they get that exactly right. But a terrific start for Navy. A couple big plays by Arline, who shades of Malcolm Perry out here. Quite the athlete Arline is.
Army and Navy thank their presenting sponsor USAA and participating sponsors Chevrolet in the Exchange for their support of America's game. And we'll get word here. Referee Dwayne Haight conferring with replay official Steve McBride. And they will have the ruling stand as it is. Now, by the way, the fog is now lifting up in the air. It looks like smoke. Dense smoke from fire is coming up. There's no fire. It's just fog, but it has that feel. And Navy's going with a couple of extra offensive linemen. A power goal line look. First and goal from the 2. Nelson Smith, the fullback. Arline under center. The give to Nelson Smith, and he has nothing. Gets stood up forward. Progress stopped at the 1 yard line. Army holds. It'll be second and goal. Gain of 1 with the ball now at the 1.
Almost looked like a rugby scrum there, because Arline gave the ball to the fullback Smith and then immediately hit him from behind, tried to push him forward, and they end up getting a yard. All 22 players were within 3 or 4 yards of the football. Just a mass of humanity there.
The Corps of Cadets is behind the end zone to the right where Navy is driving. R-line under center, one wide, extra offensive lineman, 2nd and goal from the 1. R-line under center, takes the snap, looked left for Nelson Smith, stumbling on first contact and tripped up Cedric Cunningham with some late help from Eric Smith. He's going to lose a yard to the 2. It's 3rd down and goal as the Corps of Cadets roars.
They try to go with a quick pitch to the weak side. And Jabari Moore, the corner to that side, number 4, he just totally beat Miles Fells, the slot back's block, and gave Smith quite a shot. Smith actually did well just to get back to the 2-yard line. He could have lost more. If you're going to be a corner for one of these academies, or if you're going to be a corner and go against an option team, you better be physical. You better be willing to tackle and set the edge.
Opening drive, second half. Army leads 3-0. Navy on the doorstep. Timeout will come first. Navy wants to talk it over, calling its first timeout. As we let you know that today's broadcast of the Army-Navy game on Westwood 1 is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, or other use of this broadcast without the express written consent of Westwood 1, Army West Point Athletics, and the U.S. Naval Academy is strictly prohibited. This game being played in a dense and unforgiving fog, where it feels tangible, almost as if you can reach out and make contact with the mist. Your score, 3-0 Army, 12:03 to go, 3rd quarter. This is Westwood 1's coverage of the Army-Navy game. Welcome back to Michie Stadium at West Point, along with Ross Tucker, who spent 7 years in the National Football League, and sideline reporter Tina Servasio. I'm John Sadak. You're listening to the Army-Navy game on Westwood 1, brought to you by USAA. What you're made of, we're made for. Proud presenter of America's game. First drive, second half. Army leads 3-zip, but Navy's on the doorstep. 12:03 to go, 3rd quarter. Out of a Navy call timeout, 3rd and goal Navy at the Army 2, driving toward the abundant Army students section, which is going bonkers, and you've got to think 4-down territory.
Yeah, and you also got to think Xavier Arline, right? I mean, he's been by far their most dynamic threat. If I am Army, my eyes are on number 7. I'd be surprised if he gives the ball to somebody else here, although Carruthers is in the game really for one of the only times we've seen him today.
He is the deep fullback. Arline under center. The freshman who started at quarterback calls for motion. Arline takes the snap, reading, launching to his right, gets low and gets stopped. He is stuffed at the 1-yard line. Dropped inside of the 1 by John Radigan, Army's top tackler. It's 4th and goal, less than a yard away.
Wow, one of the line judges said touchdown. The other one to the near side said he was down. They ran a speed option to the short side. He dove for it. This is awfully close. At first glance, I thought he was in.
Down short of the goal line.
And it does look like his left knee slides with contact from Radigan as he clutched it tight to his upper right chest. It's hard to tell on the angle we're seeing now where the ball is in relation to breaking the plane.
Boy, if he's not in, he is an inch or 2 away, because that left knee gets down. Actually, the right knee might be down even first, but it's really close. By the time you're sure his knee's down, it almost looks to me like the ball has crossed the plane. If they say it's too much to overturn here, John, he's going to be on the 1 centimeter line.
And then no doubt about it, you're going for it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no matter where they put it now, you're going for it. And they should. That was a good play call. And frankly, our line should have scored there. I mean, the only person that even had a shot at him was Radigan from the backside. If you're our line, dive for it. Keep your knee off the ground, dive. You would have been in.
John Radigan, the top tackler overall in tackles for loss, who went from also ran deepest of backups from Army to semifinalists for the Bednarik Award, the first in the history of Army football. And just a few days ago got invited to the Hula Bowl, one of the special stories on each side of this game. The ruling on the field, far side had said touchdown, but near side definitively said short inside of the 1. The ruling on the field, down and 4th and goal at the 1.
Well, the near side, John, certainly had a better view of our line's knee looking right down the line than the far side line judge did. So certainly the near side guy was the right guy to make the call. He was pretty definitive about it. I got to be honest with you, if they called it a touchdown, I don't think they would overturn it. It's that close. Kind of hard to see exactly when the knee is down, and when it appears if it's down, man, it's right up against the line.
Here's the word.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. 4th down.
So notice the terminology. Not confirmed, but stands. They saw the same difficulties that you did, Ross. Steve McBride, the replay official. So here, it's a field goal game. It's 3-0 Army, but Navy is as close as you can be, inches away with 4th down and goal.
Yeah, and it looks like they're still huddling on the sideline. But, I mean, if you got a quarterback sneak, that'd be a great play here. They could even run that quick speed option again. I don't picture our line giving the ball to anybody here. It's going to be number 7.
Xavier Arline, the freshman under center. Nelson Smith, the burly fullback. 4th and goal on the half-yard line. Arline takes the snap. He launches over center. They race in to make the call. They have to peel the pile, a giant sea of bodies for each side. Navy claiming it has it. They yank the pile, they're stopped. Army defense holds. Navy denied on the doorstep again. And Army will take over on its own half-foot line, maintaining a 3-0 lead.
Oh my goodness. They're on the half-inch line. It's a fullback dive to Smith. Amadeo West gets him in the backfield, then the safeties come over the top. It's about as close as can be again, but I don't think he got in. I think it's a good call. It is so close. Both 3rd and 4th down. The ball got as close to breaking the plane as you can possibly get without it being a score. Unbelievable.
11:25 to go in the 3rd quarter. Army 3, Navy nothing. You're listening to the Army-Navy game on Westwood 1.
Today's horoscope brought to you by Geico.
People will take note of your sunny disposition, Sagittarius. That's because you just switched to Geico and discovered you could save hundreds of dollars a year on car insurance. However, your newfound inner glow may prompt unfounded rumors. Did you get a promotion? Or you want a juice cleanse? Did they give you too much anesthesia at your dentist appointment? Your secret is safe with us, Sagittarius.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Before you drive the all-new Nissan Rogue, you gotta ask yourself, how rogue are you gonna go? We talking be one with nature in the desert rogue? Go snowshoeing in Alaska rogue? Or take the long way home just because kind of rogue? Just a question, but with 5 available drive modes, you're sure to find the answer.
Go rogue in the all-new, fiercely reimagined 2021 Nissan Rogue, now with the most standard safety features in its class. See Owner's Manual for important safety information. Auto Pacific segmentation. 2021 Nissan Rogue versus latest in market competitors. Base models compared.
Napa know-how. Nothing causes holiday stress like the words, some assembly required. Well, Napa's here to help with an Evercraft 100-piece screwdriver set for just $19.99. So no matter what Santa and his elves leave for you to put together, you'll be prepared. So save on the Evercraft 100-piece screwdriver set and other great tools from Napa. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how. Napa know-how. At participating locations while supplies last. Offer ends 12/31/20.
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is Westwood 1, your home for the Army-Navy game.
Identification. WBLE, Ormond Beach, 1380, The Cat.
Listen online at 1380thecat.com.
And they just took another look on replay at the lunge by Nelson Smith with contact from Army's Amadeo West. And replay man Steve McBride determines the call on the field stands in similar fashion to the near-miss touchdown plunge of Xavier Arline. This again called in Army's favor, and the Black Knights will have it on their own half-yard line. 11:25 to go in the 3rd quarter, 3-0 Army. Welcome back to the Granger broadcast booth at Mikey Stadium live in West Point. Along with Ross Tucker, I'm John Sadak. Huddle up with Grainger. You'll find supplies and solutions for every industry when you call. Click Grainger.com or just stop by. Grainger for the ones who get it done. And boy, did Army's defense get it done there, denying Navy with the slimmest of margins twice on 3rd and 4th and goal.
I'm telling you, 3rd and 4th and down, that's as close as you can get to touching and breaking the plane of the goal line without actually doing it.
So Tyler out of his own end zone under center. Navy a loaded front. Tyler changes the play. Navy reciprocates. Fagot loaded up to blitz. The give goes to McCoy, the fullback, and he gets smashed as soon as he grabs the ball right at the 1. Gains only a half yard of breathing room. It'll be 2nd down at a long 9, 3-0 Army.
Really don't understand why neither one of these teams has run a quarterback sneak in these situations. I thought Navy should have run a quarterback sneak on 4th down, if anything, and I think Army should have run a quarterback sneak right there on 1st down to get some yards, to try to get a little bit more breathing room. They're not getting anything done with the fullback.
Well, Tyler once again stands in his own end zone, deep under center, takes the snap. Now he will hear your call and lunge to the left. Johnny Hodges there along with Diego Fagot. He gets stumbled at around the 3, gain of a couple. It'll be 3rd down and 8. Contact also from John Marshall.
So that's that quarterback zone play they like again, where he's got a couple guys leading him. Army's just not getting a whole lot of push. Credit to Tyler, only 185 pounds, driving his legs to give them a little bit more breathing room.
Army is needed about 7 yards to gain on 3rd down today. It's 2 of 7. Here's 3rd and 8. Tyler the snap, rolling to his left, follows a big blocker, gets low. Submarines down into Mitchell West, who holds his footing and drops the QB at about the 7-yard line. It'll be 4th and 4. Now Army's going to have to punt out of its own end zone in a very thick, unforgiving fog that is incredibly difficult to see for returnment.
Yeah, that play was actually blocked pretty well. Tyler kind of got tripped up. If he could have made Mitchell West miss, he could have gotten the 1st down there, and Fagot limps off.
Right-footed punt is off for Daniel Davies. For Zach Harding, and Mark Walker will let it sling to the sideline and sail out of bounds at about the 45 in Navy territory. Fagot injured his ankle weeks ago and missed a couple of weeks' time. That was a pretty heavy limp for Navy's top tackler. 9:34 to go in the 3rd quarter. Army on top 3-0. Navy ball at its own 45. You're listening to the Army-Navy game on Westwood 1.
This is ATG by Wrangler. Before your next adventure, you better check your gear. UV protection, water repellent fabric, durable comfort stretch, check. ATG by Wrangler. Gear that doesn't compromise. Shop Wrangler.com.
If you need to hire, you need Indeed. When you upgrade your job post, Indeed immediately delivers candidates from our resume database who fit your job criteria. Let Indeed sift through resumes so you can focus on selecting your top candidates. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Receive a $75 sponsored job credit when you post a job at Indeed.com/credit. That's Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Looking to make a difference? Looking for more than a college degree? Determined not to settle for the ordinary, the routine, or the easy? The United States Naval Academy can open doors to leadership opportunities, a world-class education, and the chance to immediately serve your country in meaningful ways that change lives for the better. Visit usna.edu/admissions and begin your journey now.
Haircut, shirt tucked, Wrangler 5-star jeans on. Let's make the most of tonight. Wherever you are, you can feel comfortable enough to step out of your comfort zone in the premium quality and style of Wrangler 5-star jeans. Shop Wrangler.com.
Jason Horowitz back with you in our Westwood 1 studios. We'll get you back to 3-0 Army in Michie Stadium in the 3rd quarter in just a sec. But let's get you going with what else is going on. It's not the only 3-0 game. Number 16, Iowa leading Wisconsin 3-0 late in the 2nd quarter. Neither team there has 80 yards of offense. Meanwhile, earlier today, number 14, Northwestern 28-10 over Illinois. They ran for 400 yards in the victory. Number 17, North Carolina 31-3 at 10th-ranked Miami. looking for their first road win over a top 10 team in 24 years. And Sarah Fuller kicked an extra point for Vanderbilt just now against Tennessee. Becomes the first woman to score any points in any Power 5 football game. Back to John Sadak, Ross Tucker, Mikey Stadium.
Appreciate that, Jason. So history is being made everywhere in the landscape of college football. And normally Army-Navy a standalone game. That's one of the wrinkles. Also being played at Army at Mikey Stadium. 9:34 to go, third quarter. Army 3, Navy nothing. Navy's outgained Army now by 30 yards. Xavier Arline got more yards on his run to the doorstep than Navy had as a team in the first half. And that was nearly the exclamation point to the last drive, but they were stopped on 3rd and 4th and goal at the 1. Inverted bone, 3 backs surround the shotgun recessed R-line from Navy's 45. Takes the snap, loading up, launches near right side to Mark Walker, one-on-one, incomplete. Coverage there from Jabari Bordeaux, who's been in coverage on each of Navy's 2 passes.
Interesting decision by Navy to come out and throw there on first down. If you remember, that last drive, the first 2 plays they had were runs by R-line, and they had all kinds of running room. I mean, R-line had 2 back-to-back pretty significant runs. Now they elect to go to the air, puts them in 2nd and long.
Today's broadcast of the Army-Navy game out of Westwood 1 is sponsored by Chevrolet, the official vehicle of America's game. Might R-line become the vehicle for Navy? On the near right hash, driving left to right. Calls for motion by Miles Fells out of the backfield. 2nd and 10 Navy. Flag. Looked like movement on that right side.
False start. Offense. Number 66. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Sophomore right tackle Kip Franklin, the most novice of the linemen, who got his first career start a few weeks ago against Memphis.
6'1", 280. There aren't many offensive tackles in Division I football that are 6'1", 280, but these are not normal offenses. The premium on the tackles is really on quickness to be able to make the blocks on the backside cutoffs. It's not about pass protecting and being 6'6", 310.
3 wide, slot left. R-line out of the gun, 2nd and 15 Navy at its own 40. Blitz comes far side. Handoff goes to Nelson Smith, who gets smacked by 3 different Army defenders. Eric Smith was there along with Amadeo West. He gets dropped at the 42. That'll be a gain of 2, 3rd and 13.
I got to tell you, John, this is pretty much what I expected. I did not think there would be very many points at all. 2 good defense. I didn't know the fog would be like this or the weather would be like this, although we can see the field a little bit better than we could there in the 2nd quarter. 3rd and 14, a very dangerous situation for Ken Niumatalolo's bunch. They've got a freshman quarterback. He doesn't throw it great. You don't want any type of big turnover here. I wouldn't be surprised if they elect to just run it.
He's 0 for 3 passing. He works under center. He's got 4 career completions. He's going to call timeout. As soon as he got under center, play clock was whittling down, and he calls Navy's 2nd timeout, so only 1 left for the midshipmen. Once again, we go downstairs to Tina.
John, we're seeing Amadeo West's incredible impact on the Army defense here today, and he is one of 20 semifinalists nominated for the Jason Witten Collegiate Man of the Year Award, presented annually to the player who just demonstrates the high leadership, exhibiting courage, integrity, and sportsmanship, and that's really all that these young men exhibit here at the U.S. Military Academy. Now, what's so interesting about Amadeo, he just takes this so humbly. He had told me it's an incredible honor just to be named a semifinalist, and he sees it not as a reflection on himself, but as a reflection of everyone who made him who he is today. And he starts with his mother, and of course he speaks of his Army coaches, his high school coaches, his friends, his teammates, and he said he grew up as a Cowboys fan, and Jason Witten, sure enough, was one of his favorite players. So he says he's been really emotional the last few weeks, just knowing that he's being nominated for an award named after his childhood hero. So it's pretty neat to talk to this young man about things like this. John?
Appreciate that. A special young man, a captain at Army, and the game's co-leader. He's got 9 tackles. He's been everywhere. Time now for Ross Tucker to answer our weekly Ask the Pros question, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts. The question, has the Commander-in-Chief Trophy ever not been determined by the Army-Navy game outcome? Racking your brain?
No, it hasn't. Because this is the first time that Air Force is playing Army after the Army-Navy game. The Army-Navy game always ends the season and always determines the Commander-in-Chief trophy. This is an anomaly.
And that indeed it is, and that's Ross Tucker. Don't forget, you can submit your questions for our pros. Tweet us at Westwood One Sports. Use the hashtag AskThePros or visit WestwoodOneSports.com/AskThePros. Sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. So Army and Air Force are still to play. That game will come here at Michie Stadium. These are the scenarios, by the way, for this year's CIC. Army takes the trophy if it beats Navy today and beats Air Force next week. Air Force takes the trophy if it beats Army next week, regardless of what happens here. And Navy would retain the trophy if there's a three-way tie. If they beat Army and Army beats Air Force, the tie is very rare. Hasn't happened since 1993.
That really surprises me, doesn't it? I mean, it's three games. It's a round robin. I'm just surprised they haven't split it more often than that it's been a tie.
And many traditions of this game are not in existence this year. No prisoner exchange due to COVID concerns. The students did not flip-flop campuses and then get returned to their homes ceremonially at this game. Out of Navy's called timeout, 3rd and 13 Navy at its own 42. Our-line under center, play fake to Nelson Smith. Loading up in dense fog. He pumps, he throws, a little tall and behind a leaping Mark Walker, crossing to the near left, defended by John Radigan. It was shy of the marker by 5 yards anyway, and a yard shy of midfield. Incomplete, punt time, 4th down.
Well, and our line couldn't have possibly had more time. He threw it high, but as you said, even if Walker caught it, it wouldn't have been close to first down yardage. You can tell that our line struggles to throw the football. Both these quarterbacks really do. It never looks good coming out of their hand.
So Navy to punt. Remember, Army is spectacular at blocking kicks. High snap, right-footed kick is off. Tyrell Robinson didn't even attempt the return last time. He won't here either. It bounces at the 25. Navy surrounds it and watches it roll to the 20, to the 15, and down by the midshipman all the way at the 13-yard line, touched by Abisa Sambo. Log on to WestwoodOneSports.com every weekday during the NFL season for a brand new episode of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Listen at your convenience at WestwoodOneSports.com/Ross Tucker. Do you ever have a day off?
No, not during football season. Tomorrow night, I'll be doing the Bills and Steelers on many of these same stations for Westwood One Sports. So I've got quite the weekend, quite the week, really. Thank you, Howie Denneral.
Army from its 14 as they fake to an up man, keep by Tyler, running to the right side, gets grabbed, bear hugged, and swung down, body slam by John Marshall at the 16-yard line, gain of a hard 2. It'll be 2nd and 8.
Man, even when it looks like they've got something, even when it's well blocked, it just evaporates. The hole closes so quickly. Like, oh, it's a good gain of 2 yards, maybe 2.5.
Under 8 minutes to go, third quarter, 3-0 Army. 37-yard field goal made by Quinn Moretsky. He's also missed from 38. Tyre Tyler under center. Slot back motion. He takes the snap, fakes to the fullback, keeps it himself. Watch him up the right side, 20, 25, 30. He sheds Marshall, stiff arm, and carries him 35, 40, and then gets tripped up at the 45-yard line as he rips off 29 yards to move the chains.
You asked me, John, why Tyler's the quarterback. That's why right there. When he fakes the dive, nobody gets vertical, gets north and south up the field as quickly as Tyler. He puts that right foot in the ground, and he is gone. You give him an inch, he's going to take it for 20, 30 yards.
Army at its own 44 officially. 7 minutes clock rolls third quarter, up 3-0. Longest run of the day for Army. Now a give to the burly fullback, and the shifting shoulders right up the gut of Jacoby Buchanan. Slithers past the first man, hammered by the second at the 47-yard line. That'll be a gain of 3, 2nd and 7. Nicholas Straw the stop.
You know, I know there's still 6 minutes left in the third quarter, but if you're Army, if I'm Army, I'm already starting to think about not snapping the ball until there's less than 5 seconds on the play clock. I mean, why? It's a defensive struggle. Shorten the game as much as you possibly can.
Shotgun split backfield. Some moisture in the air. The give goes to A.J. Howard. No, it's a fake and a toss left, but John Marshall snips it out as he pursues Cole Catterbone, trying to loop to the near left side, and he drops him at the 46 for a loss of a yard.
Yeah, they tried to do something different, but Navy was all over it. I love some of these perimeter defenders for Navy, whether it's Kevin Brennan, who spotted that from a mile away, and John Marshall coming down the line. Those guys have seemingly made a million plays so far today already.
So now Tyler on 3rd and 8 at his own 46. Army up 3-0. Takes the snap option pitch to the left. A charge out toward midfield and hard contact on Brandon Walters as he gets thrust back several yards by Mitchell West. Forward progress, though, gives him to the Navy 48. He's going to be short by a couple.
Well, that's a bad run by Walters. He got an awesome block on the edge from A.J. Howard, and he's got to make some move there to get to one of the edges of the safety there. He should have been able to get right near the first down. That's a poor run by Walters, who's usually more of the blocking slot back.
Chance Warren to return here, not Mark Walker. Right-footed punt is off for Zach Harding. Warren leaning to his left, cannot find the ball. It falls down inside of the 10. It gets down by Army all the way back at the 6. Warren lost it in the fog. And Army surrounds, and they pin Navy incredibly deep with under 5 to go in the third quarter. 3-0 Army has the lead, and now Navy will have to earn its yards here after the solid punt by Zach Harding. And the elements have been a major factor in the return game, or lack thereof.
Yeah, and so what that big run for Tyler really did was it flipped the field again. So now, once again, you've got Navy that has a long way to go now, all the way backed up inside their 10.
Well, Navy in its ocean camo with the blue marbled helmet and shoulders. The white rest of the top and pant with a thick gold and navy stripe in the center of the outside of the leg. Army in the OD olive drab top with the gray pants and the olive helmet and the electric strawberry logo on the side of the helmet. Navy at its own 8. Shotgun. The give goes to Jamel Carruthers, and he gets bopped on the left hip by John Radigan as soon as he found the ball. He's going to have no gain, 2nd down and 10.
Well, watching this game, or those of you that are listening to it, you can certainly tell why Navy has struggled this year. Nobody blocked John Radigan. I mean, there's no fullback dive where nobody blocks the linebacker right where the play is. There's none. And it looked to me like the left guard, in this case, Honegger, just blocked the wrong guy, and that's one of the reasons why Carruthers is averaging 3.8 yards per carry as opposed to 6.6 last year.
So it's our line out of the gun on 2nd down and 10. Calls for motion from C.J. Williams. Fake the jet sweep, keep left for Arline. Gets a block by Chance Warren. Shimmies but cannot shake Marquel Broughton, who stays with him shoulder square and tackles him clean at the 13. Gain of 5, 3rd and 5.
What's the difference between a shimmy and a shake?
Sometimes a little bit of the flavor.
So he shimmied the defender, but he couldn't shake him.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Well, you can put on a shimmy, but you don't shake him. If you shimmy, it doesn't mean that you shake, but you can shake and still be caught.
You could shake and shake the guy. You could do a little shake and shake him and get more yards.
And if you slingshot, you shake and bake.
Shake and bake.
3rd down and 5. Navy at its own 13. Shotgun split backfield for Arline. 3-0 Army. Slot back motion, C.J. Williams. Arline takes the snap, running to his right, following Nelson Smith, but pursuit there from Army. Nolan Cockrell showing incredible speed at 6'3", 280 to tame the former lacrosse stud, outweighed there by 100 pounds, gain of a yard to the 14.
This is what I'm talking about. I mean, it looked like it was wide open. It looked like it was blocked so well. It just closes so fast. I'm not sure if Nelson Smith was supposed to block Darian McDonald or not, but he should have, because McDonald got in on that play along with Cockrell.
So Navy facing its 6th 3-and-out on the game. Davies to punt, stands at the edge of his end zone. Clean snap, right-footed kick just barely off. It's got okay carry. Robinson rolling to his right. Watches it plummet at the Navy 49. Grazes the 50 and circles back to the far sideline, out of bounds at the Navy 49-yard line. So not a great punt there. And Kyle Gibbs in coverage down the field. Today's broadcast of the Army-Navy game on Westwood One is brought to you by The Exchange. Visit shopmyexchange.com/vets. No field position, you pointed it out, Ross. It's leaning heavier and heavier to Army. Army owned it most of the first half. It feels like even more extreme in the second. While Navy's had the closest call for a touchdown, Army up 3-0. It feels like they have command of the game. 2:40 to go, third quarter.
Well, and I said it last drive, I'll say it again. They need to take their time snapping the football here.
And with the snap at the 50, Gibb goes right up the gut. He'll go on the ground, and John Marshall able to wrap up on Tyrell Robinson. He gets about 3 to the Navy 47.
It's about, at this point, trying to limit Navy possessions. I mean, you have the lead. Do whatever you can to just keep that clock moving. Snap it as late as possible. Try to give as few possessions to the Naval Academy as possible for the rest of this game.
Jacoby Buchanan, the big fullback, 6', 260, is back in. Tyler under center on 2nd and 7. And Tyler, the give, but not a whole lot of room there for Jacoby Buchanan as he gets met by Jarius Warren right at the line of scrimmage. No gain, 3rd down and 7.
Couldn't be more impressed by these two defenses. I mean, Jarius Warren is having an absolute monster game. He had 9 tackles in the first half. You get a 260-pound fullback coming at you, and you stone him for no gain. I mean, just think about the physics involved there.
Now has 11 tackles in this game, tying his career high that he set last year in the Army-Navy game. Here on 3rd and 7, Tyler fake left, dance to his right, has a couple of blocks as he shoots it upfield. Diego Fago tames him at the 39, but that's good for a 1st down as he picks up 9 yards to move the chains.
Boy, that's gigantic. Quarterback counter. They fake option to the left guard and left tackle. Johnson and McCleary come back. Good kick out block by Johnson. Tyler gets up in the hole, and you know he's only 5'8", $185, but he powers through right at the line to gain and knocks West back for a big 1st down.
1st and 10 at Navy's 39. Tyler deep under center. Fake to the fullback. Option right. It's on the ground. It's loose. Navy scoops it up in midfield and loses it out of bounds. They never had full possession, and Army's going to maintain. 3 midshipmen were around the hot potato bouncing football, and it hops out of bounds. The Black Knights maintain possession. Nicholas Straw was right there and couldn't lasso it home.
I can't believe that. Tyler got hit by Warren as he was pitching it. The ball was there. There's 3 Naval Academy guys around. They could not scoop it up. They tried to scoop it up. Jamal Glenn tried to scoop and score, but instead he knocked it out of bounds. A huge missed opportunity for the midshipmen.
2nd and 20. Army at its own 49. Tyler under center, and they'll just give it to the fullback. Hard plow for Sandon McCoy as he bulldozes a path to the 41. Kevin Brennan tackles him there. Gain of about 8 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 12.
That'll be the end of the 3rd quarter, and that'll probably be the end of Army pitching the football.
And that was a free football that took a very fortuitous bounce for the United States Military Academy. We are through 3 quarters of play. We've only had 3 points. Army 3, Navy nothing on a densely foggy night. You're listening to the Army-Navy game on Westwood One, presented by USAA.
USAA is made for the military community. Whether you're currently serving, a veteran who served honorably, or eligible family members, we can help you manage your money and protect what's important. It's all about having your back, and it's been that way since we were founded in 1922. USAA, proud presenter of America's game.
USAA. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
Do you have what it takes to become an officer in the United States Army? To live honorably, to lead honorably, and to demonstrate excellence? For over 200 years, the United States Military Academy, steeped in history, tradition, and the timeless values of duty, honor, country, has graduated leaders of character for the Army and the nation. Are you built to be part of the Long Gray Line? West Point, where leaders are made.
Before you drive the all-new Nissan Rogue, you gotta ask yourself, how rogue are you gonna go? We talking be one with nature in the desert rogue? Go snowshoeing in Alaska rogue? Or take the long way home just because kind of rogue? Just a question, but with 5 available drive modes, you're sure to find the answer.
Go rogue in the all-new, fiercely reimagined 2021 Nissan Rogue, now with the most standard safety features in its class. See Owner's Manual for important safety information. Auto Pacific segmentation. 2021 Nissan Rogue versus latest in market competitors. Base models compare.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2020 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
NFL week doesn't start until Thursday night football kicks off.
That's as good as it gets.
It's an AFC West battle under the bright lights of Las Vegas. Chargers rookie QB Justin Herbert is looking to impress in primetime.
Touchdown!
But Derek Carr and the Raiders need a win to keep pace in the playoff push.
Make it feel like you about to do something.
Thursday night football, Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox, NFL Network, and streaming on Prime Video. NFL Network and Amazon simulcast subject to change.
John Sadak and Ross Tucker here in the Grainger broadcast booth at Mikey Stadium at West Point. Winning teams count on Grainger. Call clickgrainger.com or stop by a local branch to find supplies and solutions for every industry. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. This has been a day about defense and kicking, punting, the inability to see punts, makes and misses on field goals. It's 3-0 Army as we're about to begin the fourth quarter, and Army facing third down and 12 at the Navy 41-yard line. Army has 3 timeouts. Navy has 1.
What a classic Army-Navy football game. You know, I mean, this is what I expected with 2 really good defenses. It's going to come down to the end. Other than last year, it seemingly always does. 7 of the last 9 teams have been 7 points or less.
Shotgun split backfield and unforgiving fog. The snap to Tyler. Quarterback takes off, hops to his left, pursuing Nicholas Straw, who ripped the football out with forward progress. Stopped first at the 36. These teams are violently looking for turnovers. This is one of the most violent games in college football. Ross, you spent some years on the sidelines. What's it like down there?
Well, it's as physical of a college football game as there is because of the way the lines fire off. And really, you can just feel it. You can hear it when you're on the sideline. I think Army's going to go for this, and I'm not surprised. You know, at the 36-yard line, I think you got a better shot of going for it. They might just try to draw them off sides now.
You're looking at a 53-yard field goal before the snap at Army timeout. They did have the offense lined up for 4th and 7 at the Navy 36. But Army's going to call its first timeout, leading 3-0. You know, Ross, at this point, you're up 3-0. The defense has been outstanding. Do you gain more by just trying to pin them with the punt? If you fall short here, you give Navy some of its better field position in a while.
Well, that's what I think they're talking about right now. I think 37 is kind of a no man's land. The question is whether or not they feel confident that their punter, Zach Harding, can get the ball inside the 10 again. It really is kind of pointless to just kick it in the end zone. You only gain 17 yards of field position.
And if they do elect to do that and Harding finds a way, you know, Zach Harding could be in the conversation for MVP in this game at this point, although certainly some defensive stalwarts on each side stand out as well. 3-0 Army, a 37-yard field goal make by Quinn Moretsky, a 38-yard field goal miss. They have not had a field goal make longer than 43. That was kickoff man Landon Salyers, who's not handled field goals so far today. And as it stands, if you were to try a field goal here, you're looking at about a 53, 54-yard field goal try. You had a bobble on the hold on the last field goal attempt. And the visibility is very, very limited, to the point where most coaches for both teams that were upstairs moved downstairs in the second half. And Ross, the fog, it feels like in that far left corner, is thickening. I am having a hard time seeing the Navy students that populate those two sections as we go downstairs to Tina.
And I'm joined now on the Navy sidelines with the Secretary of the Navy, the Honorable Kenneth Brathwaite. Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for joining us here in the midst of this Army-Navy game. What are your thoughts? And they've been able to kick off this game, and we're now in the fourth quarter.
It's been an incredible game, and, you know, it just underscores the traditions between these two great schools. My best friend's actually a West Point graduate. So 364 days out of the year, I root for Army, except on this day, and it's the same for him with Navy. So there's still a whole quarter to go. Army's up 3-0, but we don't give up. We don't give up the ship.
Ah, I love that term. I was waiting for someone to say that today. And you also bring up a very important topic about how the brotherhood and the sisterhood goes across Army, Navy, Air Force, the Marine Corps. So after this game today, no matter who sings second, what does change about the Army-Navy rivalry when everyone is commissioned?
You know, it actually it enhances the relationship that you have, because you appreciate that, although we're here at West Point, and Secretary Ryan McCarthy and I decided that it would be better to have the game here, since Army was the home team, and be able to have all the cadets and all the midshipmen be here together to take part in this great tradition. But afterwards, those experiences, even though they're in different schools, they give you a common connection, a grounding. I'm proud to be part of a philanthropic group of Army and Navy vets who are part of a group called First Wave. And the bonds between us are extremely tight, Army or Navy.
It's incredible. And as we watch, you know, this game go on, we just saw a punt go on behind us here. Just the atmosphere that these
It's electrifying, isn't it?
I know.
Is this your first Army-Navy game?
So as a broadcaster, yes. It's been years. And I was at the Veteran Stadium and Giant Stadium.
You were at Veteran Stadium? What, when you were 3? Come on.
Well, I wasn't at Mikey Stadium in 1943. The historic moment that these cadets and midshipmen are part of this, how would you commend them the way that they have treated this day and how to get here and how much they've had to endure?
Yeah, so if you shared that with your listeners, I hope. I mean, they got on the buses this morning, 175 buses that Vice Admiral Sean Buck, the superintendent of the Naval Academy, put together to bring all of the midshipmen from the Academy up here. It reminds me, my senior year, we went to the Rose Bowl and we played Army in Pasadena, and we all flew out there. And the logistics behind that was fantastic.
And a fumble by Navy after a punt went out of bounds at the 15. The first play for Navy. Option pitch to the right. Recovered by Army. Loose at the 13-yard line, and Army has the football. Up 3-0. 14:04 to go in the fourth quarter. John Radigan strikes for the Black Knights.
Unbelievable. Our line out of the shotgun ran that same option play, and the pitch was just a little bit behind C.J. Williams, although I think Williams would tell you he should have caught it, took his eyes off it, and John Radigan, who else? Johnny Nation with the recovery.
His longtime nickname, so Radigan, the top tackler for Army, finds the free football, and the Army offense on the field. Navy gets one play and turns it over. So Army driving toward its student section, the gray-clad corps of cadets that rest behind the black end zone with gold lettering of Army etched across. Shotgun split backfield. Tyler on a keeper following his back, and Tyrell Robinson. Jarius Warren is there along with Nicholas Straw. They'll stone him at the 10, gain of 3. 2nd and 7 Army, up 3-0. A touchdown here would be incredible.
Well, yeah, I mean, a touchdown here pretty much puts the game away just based on the flow of the game so far. Even a field goal, I think, is pretty significant here, John. But a field goal, hey, Navy's still only one play away from having the lead. So Army clearly looking for 6 here.
Army split backfield, shotgun again. Everyone else tight to the line. 2nd and 7 at the Navy 10. Shotgun snap. Tyler again follows his back, slips past the first wave of Navy defenders. It's the second unit that stumbles him at the 5. He collapses down at the 4 with contact, and he spoons food out of the air into his mouth. Diego Fagot, playing on a bum wheel, tripped him up. He'll be short by a few.
I love what Army's doing with this play. Instead of giving it to Robinson on the running back counter, Tyler's just following you. It's like a quarterback follow. It's a new play this week that's been very effective. Brings up 3rd and inches.
We'll go back down to Tina with the Secretary of the Navy in a moment. 3rd down and inches for Army. Wide receiver motion, shotgun snap. Tyler, the keeper. Navy gets low and makes contact. The spot will mean everything. Johnny Hodges with the tackle. Does he have enough to move the chains? The ball is right around the marker at the 3. They don't measure much this year. It feels like we have a lot of eyeballs, and this is going to be a call for a 1st down. 1st and goal, Army, a fresh set of downs, up 3-0, infancy 4th quarter.
Very, very close call there. But they're going to give it to him.
Massive personnel change. Santa McCoy checks in along with Cole Catterbone for Army, which is down a couple of wide receivers today.
Santa McCoy, 10 touchdowns this year, 20 for his career. He's got a great knack for the goal line. That's who they like to feed usually down here.
Tyler works under center. McCoy the deep back, and a whistle flag before the snap.
False start. Offense, number 55. 5-yard penalty. Remains 1st down.
The most experienced lineman making his 30th start today, J.B. Hunter, and Jeff Monken decidedly disagrees. He's irate.
Well, I think he tried to call timeout before the play. They have an unbalanced line, and Hunter was way offside. He's the only one that moved, and that creates a night and day difference for Army. Instead of 1st and goal at the 3, now it's 1st and goal at the 7. 7.5, 8.
It's almost pistol depth with split backfield for Tyler. Wide receiver motion to the left. Bit of a high snap. The give goes to his back. No, a fake, and he keeps following Tyrell Robinson. And Navy collapses down with a sea of bodies at the 5, led by Donald Berniard Jr., the freshman nose guard. Gain of 3. It'll be 2nd and goal.
Well, this has been their best play and their bread and butter on this drive and really in the second half. It's a split backfield. The fullback goes one direction and cuts off the backside, and then Tyler just follows his tailback, Tyrell Robinson, right up the line. But I think Navy's kind of sniffed it out now. They got a pretty good plan, and here Army is in the same set.
That's Robinson and Cade Barnard alongside Tyler. Wide receiver motion on 2nd and goal. He takes it himself. Tyler unimpeded into the end zone. Touchdown! Tyler streaks in for the TD, his 2nd rushing score and the 1st touchdown of this game. It's 9-0 Army, 11:02 to go in the 4th quarter.
Love this design. Tyler in the gun, and the right side unbalanced, an extra lineman that way. This is just quarterback power, and Diego Fagot overran it. He tried to come over the top. Mike Johnson, the left guard, got right underneath him, pancaked him, and that was a relatively easy touchdown for the Black Knights.
And so now a swinging gate, quick set formation for the extra point. Quinn Moretsky, snap, spot, the right-footed kick is in the air, and the kick is good. So Army forces a turnover on a bad option pitch. Nullifies a Navy one-play drive, and Army takes plumb advantage. A 10-0 Black Knight lead, 11:02 to go in the 4th quarter as we go back downstairs to Tina.
And John, we have to thank Secretary Brathwaite, the Secretary of the Army, for wading through that. You had some view of the Army touchdown, but I know it could not feel well right now, sir. But thank you for staying with us. You were talking about just the resilience of the midshipmen and the cadets to get through this year and through this pandemic in order to be here today. If you would continue talking about everything.
That's Robinson and Cade Barnard alongside Tyler. Wide receiver motion on 2nd and goal. He takes it himself. Tyler unimpeded into the end zone. Touchdown! Tyler streaks in for the TD, his 2nd rushing score and the 1st touchdown of this game. It's 9-0 Army, 11:02 to go in the 4th quarter.
Love this design. Tyler in the gun, And the right side, unbalanced, an extra lineman that way. This is just quarterback power. And Diego Fagot overran it. He tried to come over the top. Mike Johnson, the left guard, got right underneath him, pancaked him, and that was a relatively easy touchdown for the Black Knights.
And so now a swinging gate, quick set formation for the extra point. Quinn Moretsky, snap, spot, the right-footed kick is in the air, and the kick is good. So Army forces a turnover on a bad option pitch. Nullifies a Navy one-play drive, and Army takes plumb advantage. A 10-0 Black Knight lead, 11:02 to go in the fourth quarter as we go back downstairs to Tina.
And, John, we have to thank Secretary Brathwaite, the Secretary of the Army, for wading through that. You had some view of the Army touchdown, but I know it could not feel well right now, sir. But thank you for staying with us. You were talking about just the resilience of the midshipmen and the cadets to get through this year and through this pandemic in order to be here today. If you would continue talking about everything that these young future military leaders and soldiers and sailors, what they've endured to be here today.
I don't know. I think I have to wipe the tears out of my eyes here.
You had to witness that.
That was pretty painful being right here on the goal line, watching that, feet away. But no, both schools, I think we instill a sense of perseverance, tenacity, as you said, resilience. We talk a lot about that as we look to develop the future force. I mean, there's no secret. I talk about this all the time, that we are in the most challenging period of our history. And that's not, something that I'm creating drama over. It's the truth. We have a lot of challenges around the world. And so these schools are developing the leaders who will face those challenges. And resiliency, whether it's Army or Navy, is all a key component of that.
Well, thank you so much, Secretary Brathwaite, for staying with us. The Secretary of the Navy joining us here on the Navy sideline in the midst of the Army-Navy game, sir. We appreciate your time and all that you do.
Thank you very much. Go Navy.
In the midst of the midst. Thank you, Tina and Mr. Secretary. 10-0 Army on top of Navy. 11:02 to go in the fourth quarter. This is Westwood One's coverage of the Army-Navy game.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help armed men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals, because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
COVID-19 has cast a spotlight on the stark inequalities that drive poverty. The poorest communities in the U.S. and around the world are suffering the most. Oxfam believes we can put systems in place to protect health and livelihoods in the future if we work together with dignity and compassion. Learn how you can help offer safety to the most vulnerable and fight for a more resilient future at oxfamamerica.org. Sponsored by Oxfam America.
Welcome on back to Army-Navy. Army kickoff left to right. Fair catch wave by Navy's Chance Warren at the lip of his end zone. And a touchback. 11:02 to go, fourth quarter. Army with what feels to be a gargantuan 10-0 lead. Taking plumb advantage of a Navy turnover, a fumble on an option pitch bobble. When quarterback Xavier Arline flipped it to his senior C.J. Williams, he couldn't handle it. Army's John Radigan recovered, set up the short field, and Tyler pays it off. A 4-yard touchdown run. The first touchdown ever for Army against Navy at Army. This is the fourth time they've met at Army. Twice on the plains back in the 1890s, once in World War II in 1943. The Navy took all of those games, and Army had never scored a touchdown against Navy on its home field. So Navy is on at its own 25. 11:02 to go. One timeout, down 10-0, and a freshman at quarterback. Arline Beckons Williams in motion. Drops back, looking to throw. Pocket begins to erode. He steps up, ranging to his right. Tries to turn on the Jets. Gets ankle grabbed, and Nolan Cockrell rips him down at around the 29, gain of 4.
You know, if you're Navy, you're going to have to take some chance at some point here, but it's really just not what they do well. I wonder if that was a designed run. Our line dropped back, but it looked like he never really had an intention to throw the football. I think that's been one of their better plays, is our line looks like he's going to pass, and it's a very delayed draw.
Might we see a trick play implemented at some point. A bad snap off our line's hands, picked up by Chance Warren. It goes down to a left knee as he gets hammered by a couple of West Point players. And there are flags down as he was dropped back at his own 21-yard line.
It was a high snap, and it was a hot snap, but still should have been fielded by our line.
And Radigan came in.
Chop block. Offense. Number 67 and 62. That penalty will be declined. Third down.
Goes on Bryce Teixeira and Pierce Banbury at center and guard. Teixeira, former starter, came off the bench today, filled in for Peter Nestrowitz, who was taken to the hospital after he was poked in the eye in the first half. The Navy's looking at disaster here, Ross. 10:21 to go, fourth quarter. 3rd and 14 for the midshipmen, down 10-0.
I think at this point you got to look for Michael Cooper, the junior receiver, 6'5", 221, and give him a chance to go up and get it against man-to-man coverage.
He is on the side. 1 of 9 on 3rd down. The give instead goes to the back, and Nelson Smith, who gets grabbed by Andre Carter, latching onto his right shoulder pad from behind, and he rips him down at the 25-yard line, only a gain of 4. It'll be 4th down and 10, punt time for Navy.
I don't know how you do that right there, John. I don't know. 3rd and 14, you give the ball to the fullback. You're not really trying to get the first down. There's less than 10 minutes left, and you're down by 2 scores. Give yourself some chance at the first down there.
I agree with you. Now the punt unit for Navy, they have run a fake successfully, but this is deep on their own side of the field on 4th and 10 at their own 25. Right-footed kick is off for Daniel Davies. Robinson at his own 41 loses the football. It's loose on the field, and he's able to recover, rolling to his left. Navy locking arms, and flags are out as they fight for the ball well after the whistle.
Yeah, they hit him way, way late, and that's just a mental error. I didn't catch the number of who did that for Navy, but Robinson's on the ground, and about 3 seconds after he's laying on the ground with the ball, he just got smoked in the back.
Dwayne Haight, our referee.
Rolling on the field. His Army recovered the ball. It'll be 1st down. After the play was over, personal foul, number 49, kicking team. That 15-yard penalty will be added on to the end of the recovery. 1st down.
That's the long snapper, Kyle Gibbs.
I don't know if he tripped or just lost his mind. Either way, it's not good.
9:21 to go in the 4th quarter. Army can taste it. Army 10, Navy nothing. You're listening to the Army-Navy game on Westwood 1.
The greatest athletes and moments in sports are revealed from the unprecedented vantage point of Emmy Award-winning Hall of Fame broadcaster Jim Gray in his new book, Talking to Goats. Just ask Tom Brady, who wrote the foreword.
This book is sports history about some of the greats by one of the greats.
Ali, Jordan, Tiger, Kobe, Phelps, Tyson, LeBron. The moments you remember, the stories you never heard. Jim Gray's Talking to Goats is in bookstores now and at talkingtogoats.com.
Before you drive the all-new Nissan Rogue, you gotta ask yourself, how rogue are you gonna go? We talking be one with nature in the desert rogue? Go snowshoeing in Alaska rogue? Or take the long way home just because kind of rogue? Just a question, but with 5 available drive modes, you're sure to find the answer.
Go rogue in the all-new, fiercely reimagined 2021 Nissan Rogue, now with the most standard safety features in its class. See Owner's Manual for important safety information. Auto Pacific segmentation. 2021 Nissan Rogue versus latest in market competitors. Base models compare.
Celebrate home with gifts from Lowe's, like Craftsman Mechanics tool sets with a full lifetime warranty starting at just $39.98. And right now, save big on a Ring Spotlight security camera. It was $199 and now's just $159.99. Shop gifts in-store or from home on our app and Lowe's.com with free shipping on thousands of items or pick up curbside for contactless service. Valid through December 31st. Mech tools valid through January 3rd, 2021. U.S. only.
Welcome back to Mikey Stadium at West Point, along with 7-year NFL veteran Ross Tucker and sideline reporter Tina Servasio. I'm John Sadak. You're listening to the Army-Navy game on Westwood 1, brought to you by USAA. What you're made of, we're made for. Proud presenter of America's game. Army on top 10-0, a short field thanks to a Navy turnover on a fumble. 9:21 to go, fourth quarter. Army set to begin a drive at the Navy 45, and it feels like, are the winds arriving? The fog is denser, higher, and now swirling right in front of us. Ross, I feel like I could reach out and grab a clump of fog, almost like a cloud in a cartoon, and bring it in the booth.
No, I feel like if I put up my cup outside, I could drink some of the fog right now. This is going to make for an interesting drive home in these mountains, that's for sure.
I'm going to ask to see some ID before you do that with the fog, by the way. So Army, the West Point Black Knights, Tyler has the game's only touchdown. He has been the biggest difference. Xavier Arline of Navy was stopped a yard shy, and then his teammate Nelson Smith stopped a yard shy earlier in the game. Shotgun snap, give to A.J. Howard off the right side. He's got some room. John Marshall, the first to arrive with contact, help from Jamal Glenn, and he gets stumbled 35, gain of 10, first and 10.
So this is critical now, John, okay? This is, even though there's 9 minutes left, this is essentially what you call 4-minute offense in football. What that means is you're trying to churn clock. So ball security is at a premium. They're going to try to rip the football out. That's priority 1. Priority 2, take as much time off the clock as possible, stay in bounds, and no penalties. Absolutely no penalties. Stops the clock and kills you.
Tyler under center. Army at the Navy 35, and a flag before they can even get the snap. You just said no penalties. Here you go.
Ball start. Offense. Number 5. 5-yard penalty. First down.
It goes on the A-back, A.J. Howard.
That's on me. I just jinxed him. I mean, Tuesday night on Westwood 1, I said Justin Tucker never misses because his last name's awesome, and then he finally missed. And now I say the only thing you can't do is have a penalty to stop the clock, and A.J. Howard jumps. Unreal.
Tell me I can't play the lotto because I can't afford the taxes. Go ahead and just put that out there. Let's see what happens. 8:25 to go, fourth quarter, 10-0 Army. First and 15, shotgun split backfield. Navy loads the box. Tyler, shotgun snap, fake left, keep off right guard. Hit by John Marshall on his right hip. And he is stopped at the 38-yard line. That'll be a gain, a gain of 3 there. Yes, it was first and 15. Sorry, fog in the brain and on the field. We invite you to stay up to date with Westwood One Sports by following us on Twitter at Westwood One Sports. That's Westwood, the number 1, then sports. You'll also find a link to our Twitter page and much, much more at WestwoodOneSports.com.
Hit us up as well at Ross Tucker NFL, at John Sadak, at Tina Servasio. We're interactive. We're cool. We're hip.
Dr. Evil, too.
By the way, if you say you're hip, you're not.
Second down and 12. Low snap. Tyler fake to the back. Keep to his right. Navy swarms, trying to rip the football free. He is knocked down to the 35. Jackson Perkins part of the party there, but a lot of clock working. Navy only has 1 timeout, down 2 scores. Third down and 10, Army.
And remember, Tyler fumbled 3 times in Army's last game against Georgia Southern. 3 times. So Navy's been trying to rip the ball out from him all game long. This only exacerbates that situation.
That was part of why Army found itself down a couple of scores, even when Georgia Southern had single digits yards of total offense. And Army rallied its largest deficit overcome in over 15 years. Tyler out of the gun, 4 on the play clock, 3rd and 10. takes the snap, and the give goes to his back. A.J. Howard off left guard. He gets only to the 33. A couple of Navy players arrived to meet him there, including Jarius Warren alongside Donald Bernier Jr., only a gain of 2, but more time ticks. Navy only 1 timeout.
Yeah, and this is once again a unique decision for Jeff Monken. It looks like he's going to punt it. I think if it was any closer, they would go for it, but 4th and a good 7-8 yards, he's going to take his shot at pinning the ball inside the 10 again.
And remember, the return men have had a hard time seeing the ball descend on punts in this unforgiving fog. Zach Harding to punt on 4th and 8. Snap at the Navy 33, 10-0 Army. Clean snap, right-footed kick is off. And Warren rolling hard to his right will not have a chance to make a play. This one's going to go out of bounds on the far side. They're going to mark it at the Navy 14-yard line. 5:54 to go in the 4th quarter. Time running out of the midshipmen. 10-0 Army on top of Navy. You're listening to the Army-Navy game on Westwood 1.
This is ATG by Wrangler. Before your next adventure, you better check your gear. UV protection, water repellent fabric, durable comfort stretch, check. ATG by Wrangler. Gear that doesn't compromise. Shop Wrangler.com.
Geico presents Left Brain versus Right Brain.
We should switch to Geico.
I'm picking up what you're putting down, buddy.
We could save hundreds of dollars a year on car insurance.
Oh, with that kind of scratch, we can get the band back together for a reunion tour.
A, we were never in a band. B, Glenn let us play the tambourine on stage 1 time. And C, we will, however, put that savings towards a new interview suit.
Look what I found. Huh? Still got it.
Oh, no.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Chevy salutes those who serve our country. We're proud to offer a military discount to those in active service, reservists, veterans, and retirees of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard, plus their spouses and household. To learn more, visit ChevySalutes.com. That's ChevySalutes.com, the official vehicle of America's game. Chevrolet, find new roads.
Haircut, shirt tucked, Wrangler 5-star jeans on. Let's make the most of tonight. Wherever you are, you can feel comfortable enough to step out of your comfort zone in the premium quality and style of Wrangler 5-star jeans. Shop Wrangler.com.
It's time to select our AutoZone In the Zone College Football Player of the Week for last week. Ross, who do you got?
I'm going to go with Alabama quarterback Mac Jones. I really think next week's SEC championship is not only from Alabama and Florida, it's about the 2 leading Heisman contenders. Last week against LSU, he was 20 of 24, 379 yards, 4 touchdowns as they smashed the defending national champion LSU Tigers. He really only had 1 bad throw the whole game. He's been outstanding filling in for Tua Tagovailoa this year, who was drafted in the 1st round for the Dolphins.
And he was definitely in the zone. It was our College Football Player of the Week, sponsored by AutoZone. When you need battery help, you need to visit AutoZone. AutoZone is America's #1 battery destination with free testing, free charging, and Duralast batteries. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Under 6 minutes, 4th quarter, Army 10, Navy nothing. Navy begins a drive at its own 14, armed with 1 timeout and battling an unforgiving fog that was here when we first arrived at the stadium hours before kick, has intensified dramatically to the point we cannot see the fans on the other side of the field. Xavier Arline at quarterback became just the 5th freshman to ever start at quarterback for Navy, which has been outgained by just 40 yards in a slight offensive struggle. The snap, he drifts to his left, tries to surge upfield, and Army's right there. There's nowhere to go. Way more Black Knights than midshipmen, and he gets dropped right near the line of scrimmage. No gain.
Navy has 4 first downs in this game. I mean, that's unbelievable, right? 4 first downs? I mean, that is hard to believe. They've had a couple big plays by our line, just no consistency.
Shotgun snap as they jet sweep and then reverse. Looping to the far side and getting chopped down in the end zone. Contact on the wideout, who had no room to rumble, and a safety as Army blows up up the trick play in a big way and puts 2 more points on the board to take a 12-0 lead. 5:21 to go in the fourth quarter.
I think Mark Walker was going to end up throwing that. I think Mark Walker, the receiver, who got the ball in the reverse, was going to try to throw the ball to our line. But the outside linebacker, number 30, Darian McDonald, he was all over it. Nelson Smith never finished his block, and McDonald finished Walker in the backfield. What a tremendous play by McDonald.
Well, this game is known for trick plays, and the first trick play that's broken out, Navy not only doesn't produce a positive play with it, it sees points for the Black Knights. It's now 12-0 Army, 5:21 to go in the fourth quarter. You're listening to the Army-Navy game on Westwood One.
Football season is in full swing, which means Hulu has live sports. You can watch your favorite players like Baker Mayfield on Hulu Plus Live TV. Get access to over 65 live channels, plus the largest streaming TV library, including exclusive originals and the hottest shows and movies. Start your free trial today so you don't miss a moment. Live TV plan required. Restrictions apply. Learn more at Hulu.com. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. When you upgrade your job post, Indeed immediately delivers candidates from our resume database who fit your job criteria. Let Indeed sift through resumes so you can focus on selecting your top candidates. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Receive a $75 sponsored job credit when you post a job at Indeed.com/credit. That's Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Before you drive the all-new Nissan Rogue, you gotta ask yourself, how rogue are you gonna go? We talking be one with nature in the desert rogue? Go snowshoeing in Alaska rogue? Or take the long way home just because kind of rogue? Just a question, but with 5 available drive modes, you're sure to find the answer.
Go rogue in the all-new, fiercely reimagined 2021 Nissan Rogue, now with the most standard safety features in its class. See Owner's Manual for important safety information. Auto Pacific segmentation. 2021 Nissan Rogue versus latest in market competitors. Base models compared.
Army and Navy thank their presenting sponsor, USAA, and participating sponsor, Chevrolet and the Exchange, for their support of America's game. A safety as Darian McDonald drops Navy's Mark Walker in the Navy end zone. And we're going to get a timeout here before a Navy free kick. 5:21 to go, fourth quarter, 12-0 Army. And it looks like Army is going to call its penultimate timeout, so 1 timeout left for the Black Knights.
Well, that's because I'll tell you right now, they were not ready for a potential onside kick. They want to make sure they have their hands team out there.
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is Westwood One, your home for the Army-Navy game.
Identification.
WBLE, Ormond Beach, 1380 The Cat. Listen online at 1380thecat.com.
A reminder that tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, it's Sunday Night Football on many of these same stations. Tom McCarthy, Ross Tucker will have all the excitement of the big AFC matchup of division leaders. The Buffalo Bills host the Pittsburgh Steelers. Log on to WestwoodOneSports.com for more details. If it's Sunday Night Football, it's on Westwood One. 5:21 to go, fourth quarter. Army 12, Navy nothing. Navy has not been shut out in this game since 1969. This has not been played on a neutral field since 1943, and they have played pretty much the entirety of this game with incredibly limited visibility, to the point where almost every coach for both teams, including all coordinators, descended from press box level to the field at halftime.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be known forever as the fog game in this Army-Navy series.
And Army hosting this game at the stadium, which is soaked in tradition. I think my favorite, though, Ross, as Army enters the field here at Mikey Stadium, the players touch the officer plaque, which has the words of General George C. Marshall, Chief of Staff of the Army during World War II. At the Pentagon, his famous declaration, "I want an officer for a secret and dangerous mission. I want a West Point football player." And it feels like under the drape of night and in the cover of fog, as Navy is out there to kick, and Army is everyone loaded up top, waiting for an onside. It gets booted forward. It doesn't go 10 yards. Navy seemed to move first. Army makes first contact. The ball briefly loose, but flags litter the landscape. As Daniel Davies, the punter, kicked the ball. Army called with recovery of the free football. But we'll see what the laundry is for. It looked like Navy had started first.
Offside. 13. The ruling on the field is the ball was recovered by Army. The 5-yard penalty will be added on to the end of the recovery. First down.
And indeed, an offside against Navy's Chance Warren. So Army has the ball and an extra 5 yards. And Ross, here they are in plum circumstance. Navy one timeout, 5:19 to go. Army up 12-0. They're already in field goal range.
And the thing about that is, if Warren doesn't go off sides, Chris Cameron mishandled the ball. I mean, the ball was there for the taking. That was absolutely the right decision by Ken Niumatalolo to go for the onside kick there, but really it makes the 3rd and 14 handoff to the fullback even more curious to me.
Ball spotted at the Navy 22. Snap goes to Tyler, the quarterback. Contact from Mitch West off the right side along with Kevin Brennan. And they drop him at the 19, so it's a gain of 3. 2nd and 7. 5:08 to go. Navy only one timeout. 12-0 Army.
Army, of course, will try to take as much time as possible on this drive. And boy, would they love to put one more in the end zone. 19-0 would sure sound pretty good to them after, let's be honest, they were embarrassed last year by Navy. Malcolm Perry rushing for over 300 yards and dominating the Black Knights.
2nd down and 7 for Army, which has been dominant at home, looking for a 9th straight win at Mikey Stadium. And from under center, the snap to Tyler, who loops around to his right. Gets greeted by a few Navy midshipmen. John Marshall there, Nicholas Straw. They tackle him at the 19. No gain, but that's moot. Navy one timeout. 4:22. Clock rolls. 3rd and 7. Army up a dozen.
It's hard to believe in this series and the style of play that Army hasn't shut Navy out since 1969, isn't it? I mean, it feels like these games are always like 17-10, 10-7. It's kind of weird that Army's never shut out Navy since 1969.
Also, there's never been an overtime game in series history. There have been ties, but since the advent of the overtime rule, that's never happened. 3rd and 7, shotgun split backfield. Tyler sprinting to his left. He gets hammered. First contact on the left hip. Second contact powers him down at a flag. Kevin Brennan was in there on the second half. Stopped at the 18, gain of a yard.
I'm not sure what that penalty was because I didn't. Honestly, it's hard to see a lot of stuff going on down there, so I'm working off the monitor a lot, so I didn't see if it was away from the ball. I can see Diego Fago is very fired up for
personal foul, face mask, defense, number 7, half the distance to the goal from the end of the run, automatic. First down.
And that is crippling. It goes on Kevin Brennan, the junior free safety. The first down changes things dramatically. It would have been 4th down at about 7 or 8.
And it's a good call. He got him with his left hand, and it was a violent face mask. I mean, that's about as bad as it gets. Tyler bounced off one tackler and was coming back the other way.
So it's going to be first down and goal with the ball spotted at the 9, and this fog just will not quit. It is as difficult to see as it's been on the day. Tyler out of the gun, split backfield, crowded front for Navy. Tyler well content to allow the clock to roll down.
I think he's apologizing to the linemen because he got them all in their stance with like 20 seconds on the play clock, way too early.
6 on the play clock. He barks the cadence, he takes the snap, fake right, launch left. And Marshall is there along with Brennan. Brennan low, Marshall high. They push it back at around the 7-yard line. That'll be a gain of a couple. 2nd and goal. 3:09 to go. Navy one timeout. Army leads 12-0. And it looks like Navy will call timeout here. That'll be the final Navy timeout. So they'll be powerless to stop the clock from here on in with 3:08 to go. Army had to put together a bit of a hodgepodge schedule this year. Army had a dozen opponents set. Only 3 of those opponents were actually played. A bevy of lower-tiered opponents were brought in. A large menagerie of home games. And then 3 weeks of prep time. Had not played since November the 21st against Georgia Southern. Remember, Army will have Air Force on December the 19th. Their first matchup was postponed due to COVID-19 concerns. And that game will decide the Commander-in-Chief trophy.
So, John, I don't think Navy would ever do it. But I'm just going to tell you right now, I think their best option would be to let them score.
Right.
Because they just used their last time out. And now you've got Army's going to be able to take at least another minute 20 off the clock. And maybe even more than that here.
Second and goal at the Navy 7. Tyler out of the gun, split backfield. Takes the snap. Cutting right, tries to cut upfield, but Hodges is there. Latches onto his left shoulder. Flag out again. He loses a couple to the 9.
Offense, number 3, 10-yard penalty, remains second down. The game clock will start on the snap.
It goes on Sandon McCoy, the fullback, but Navy no timeouts, 3:06 remaining, 12-0 Army.
What did I tell you earlier? You can't have penalties.
Right.
That's a critical error. You can't have penalties. Now, the good news is, yeah, Navy does the right thing. Navy declines the penalty because they don't want them to have another down. They don't want them to be able to take 40 more seconds off. So, Sandon McCoy, the Army fullback, just cost his team 40 seconds, which is more valuable than any yards at this point. That's a critical error, and it's something that Army did at the end of the game against Georgia Southern that almost cost them the game.
They held on in that one by a skinny point against Jeff Munkin's former stomping grounds. Also was an assistant at Navy back in the day. Third and goal at the Navy 9. Shotgun split backfield, 12-0 Army. Snap is loose through the hands of Tyler. And collected back at the 16-yard line, scooped up by Tyler, who will lose 7 here. It's going to be 4th down and goal. Actually, they're going to spot it back at the 23-yard line. And now the kick unit is out to attempt about a 40-yard field goal for Quinn Moretsky. 40 is his short career long. That was against Abilene Christian.
And that was very similar to the snap that our line mishandled. It was hot, meaning it came out pretty hard, and it was a little high.
Left to right kick near right hash. Trying to make it a more than 2-touchdown game. Quinn Moretsky's third field goal try of the game. The snap, the spot. The right-footed kick is in the air, and the kick is good. So Moretsky ties his career high, the freshman's second field goal make of the game. And that is major breathing room once more for Army. 2:20 to go, fourth quarter. It's 15-0 Black Knights. Let's go back downstairs to Tina Cervasio.
Well, right now with this 15-0 lead by Army, there is a retired colonel of the Army celebrating right now. He's got to be as he's watching, and that would be Gary Steele. So for this game, as we all know, there are no fans. It's just military and media. But Army Athletic Director Mike Buddy was going to make an exception, and he invited Gary Steele to this game. Now, if you remember, the retired Colonel Steele is a former Army football player, but when he was playing here and going to West Point in the mid-1960s, he was only one of about 30 black students at the academy, and retired Colonel Steele was the first black person to hold a varsity position on the football team. Now, you may be familiar with that name if you don't necessarily follow Army football history. He has quite a legacy in the world of sports. A returnal Colonel Steele, his daughter is Sage Steele, the anchor on the Sports Center anchor on ESPN, and his son Chad Steele is the longtime media relations director for the Baltimore Ravens. Unfortunately, though, Gary Steele had to turn down the invitation, and it was sort of also with the advice of his wife and his daughter. He is currently undergoing treatment for cancer. He is living in Pennsylvania, but of course, he is one of the people that was the first. He didn't necessarily want to be the first or create history. His daughter, Sage, talks about this a lot. He just wanted to play football and be part of a team here at Army. But he paved the way for so many, including the superintendent of the military academy, Lieutenant General Darrell Williams, who played here on the Army football team out in West Point back in 1983. John?
Appreciate that, Tina, and many thanks to all those who have served to all those from each of these academies. Lights are out. I assume cell phones. All I can see are the lights themselves on the far side of the field, and in the end zone to the right, the Army Corps of Cadets with Jump Around blaring on the loudspeaker, and a very despondent sea of dour faces for Navy populate their sideline. Army kicks left to right, a booming effort. Miles Fells watches it dribble end zone, a touchback, 15-0. Army on top of Navy, seeking its first shutout of the midshipmen since 1969. 2:20 to go, fourth quarter. Army up more than 2 touchdowns. Navy has no timeout. So what do you do with a run-first offense that's had little to no success passing with your current freshman quarterback?
It sounds like you put a new quarterback in, and that's Dalen Morris, who's a much better thrower, the senior. He's had some good games, including that epic Tulane comeback earlier in the year.
He was the starter in the early stage of the year. Navy used 3 starters in its first 3 games. Takes a shotgun snap, throws to the far right side. The pass is caught near the sticks by Mark Walker. He gets out of bounds. He's going to be a yard short, 2:16 to go.
So if you're Army, you really want to protect the out of bounds. They don't have any more timeouts. So the Army corners should be playing outside leverage. That means working outside in. You almost want Navy to catch the ball in the field of play and then just tackle them, because the clock is your friend now.
2nd and 1. Blitz comes near side. Morris stepping up, flush to his right, throws on the run, dangerous ball. As Army was in the area, tumbling, attempt at a grab comes up short. Incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 1 Navy. Clock frozen, 1:55 to go in the 4th, 15-0 Army.
Remember, in college football, the clock stops on a first down until the chains are set for play. So Navy could even run a play here, run the ball, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do, just to make sure they convert and get a first down.
Morris works under center for the first time. Fells in motion. It goes to the fullback, Nelson Smith. He's got nothing. Stood up rudely by Nolan Cockrell, who violently thrusts him back. After the whistle blared, he threw him down like a rag doll. It'll be 4th down and 1.
Well, so that's a disaster then, right? Because you run it to try to just get the first down. And Cockrell, the nose tackle, just abused the center, Pierce Banbury. I mean, Army has won that matchup all game.
Clock rolls here, 1:27 to go. Needing a yard on 4th down 15-0. Shotgun snap, and an incomplete hurried pass to the right. It falls short of Mark Walker, and Army's defense turns Navy over on downs. Navy has no timeouts, and it's a matter of ceremony. It's 15-0 Army with 1:21 to go. They're going to get their first shutout of Navy since 1969.
Absolutely unbelievable. Army will be able to just take 2 knees here. Incredible defensive performance by the Black Knights. They've done it all year long. They've held their opponents to 10 points or less, 6 of 7 during this home win streak. Now make it 7 of 8, top 10 in almost every category. This defense is as legit as it gets.
Smiles, roars, hugs, high fives on the Army sideline as Tyler takes the snap and a bent right knee. Clock rolls, and Navy powerless to stop it. 1:14 as it ticks down 4th quarter. 15-0 Army. On a densely foggy evening, the Army Black Knights can see clearest as they see success coming shortly, and a 4th win in 5 years against their rival.
Man, I'm seeing guys like Nick Stokes on the sideline, defensive lineman. He's crying. It's hard to put into words how much this means to these young men. I mean, this is their Super Bowl. These guys aren't dreaming of going to the NFL and playing in the Super Bowl. This is their Super Bowl, and it means everything to them.
Another snap and bent knee. No delay of game penalty here. So now it's a matter of the final snap still to come. 15-0 Army will back the ball up to the Navy 40. Army, in theory, going left to right, but in truth, they're going about 2 yards back. to go another huge monumental win forward. Tyler surrounded by his teammates in a tight bunch with one safety man back at the 50 just in case. Navy has 9 of its 11 defenders within inches of the line of scrimmage or right on top of it. Warm embraces, tears streaming on the Army sideline, and looks of despair on the Navy sideline. Tyler under center. He takes the snap, another knee, and Army spills out onto the field as the final seconds drip away. The Black Knights can celebrate. For the 4th time in 5 years, Army owns bragging rights without parallel. The greatest rivalry in sport belongs to the Black Knights in 2020. Army cements history on its home field, beats Navy 15-0. The first shutout success for Army in the Army-Navy game since 1969. The cannon fires, the students roar in the stands, and handshakes exchanged. Now, one of the changes from the norm in the past in Philadelphia, perhaps next year at MetLife, depending upon how the virus and its effects on our society continue to linger, you would see students spilling out onto the field. It would be the entire student body, football team, and the balance all as one. But I have to think with social distancing rules this year, that's heavily frowned upon. So instead, the team stands out there by itself, victors in a 9th straight home game as they thump Navy 15-0.
Yeah, and there was a little bit of extracurriculars there for a second after the game. There was a little bit of pushing and shoving, but thankfully cooler heads prevailed, and I think hopefully they realize, hey, the game's over. We're on the same team now. We're on Team America.
Yeah, 364 days a year, Army and Navy unite for the greatest team on earth. And this one day, it's very much like being brothers. You fight your brother the very hardest when it comes to that. But you defend that brother as well. And it's all for the bragging rights that mean who can sing second. That's a major honor as the grand tradition of this game's conclusion, the singing of the alma maters. The losing team goes first, and annually in a show of respect, the winning team journeys to that side of the field to participate, to listen in, and show respect. So up first, the Navy blue and gold. All of Navy gathered just outside the end zone to our left, outside the far right hash. Army begins to trickle in behind the Navy football team, standing in front of the brigade of midshipmen.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise for the playing of Navy blue and gold.
Despair turns into pure, jubilant joy. You won't find a sprint as joyous, as fast, as lock and step as the winning team at Army-Navy that gets to sing second. Army as one, racing right to greet the Corps of Cadets. Select players leaping up onto the side cement wall to embrace their brothers and sisters in the stands. And Navy, in a show of respect, jogs alongside trailing Army after Army takes it 15-0. One of the greatest traditions in sport, the alma mater of the winning team, which for the 4th time in 5 years will be the Army alma mater. They all stand in the Army end zone. Army in gold letters on a black background, and most of the Army players in the stands with their schoolmates. The Army alma mater.
And now, please remain standing for the playing of the West Point alma mater.
The cannons fire, smoke billows, and we can see it, oddly enough, after a game with some of the worst weather conditions that Army and Navy have known in this, the 121st meeting. A thick, unforgiving, unyielding fog, impossible to penetrate, forcing coaches on each side to shift downstairs at halftime of the game. The fog is peeled away. We can see everything just about as clear as day just now with the game over. And Army on top, a 15-0 victory over Navy. And Tyler was spectacular, and the Army defense came to play yet again, Ross, in a big way, including a huge back-to-back set of denials when Navy was on the doorstep.
They really did. The goal line stand is certainly what I will remember for years to come from this year's contest. Epic job by the Army defense all game long, but in particular on those 4 fateful downs. I mean, Navy got the ball all the way down on the 1-yard line, 1st and goal from the 1, and they could not get in.
And it appeared they had a shot on back-to-back plays on 3rd and 4th down. Both times on replay, the call on the field of no touchdown stood. It was not confirmed. Right. There wasn't enough evidence to actually confirm it. But the call, you had thought either way, whatever it had been called, it would have stood.
Yeah, I would not have overturned it if they had been a touchdown.
Let's go downstairs to Tina.
Joined now by senior John Radigan. John, congratulations. This is the first time that Navy has been shut out by Army since 1969. What kind of emotions are you going through with this win here today?
This is very exciting, and this is something that we worked so hard for 3 weeks, and to see it pay off like this, and you know, for our senior class, we're very excited, and overall it was a great team win, so nothing feels better right now. It's awesome.
But take us back when you saw Xavier Arline bobble that option pitch, and you were able to recover it. Take us through that, everything that you saw there to be able to complete that play.
So I mean, that has to do with our adjustments and our defensive coaching staff. We did a lot of things, you know, keying them, and I kind of knew exactly what play was coming, so thankfully it worked in our favor, and the ball was on the 10-yard line, so our offense was able to punch it in right after.
With all that you guys have been through as cadets here, the quarantine at West Point, everything that's gone on with your whole schedule changing, and this game being moved here to Michie Stadium, I mean, just as a football team right now, what does this all mean to you?
It means so much, and just the adversity that we fought through this whole year as a team. I couldn't be more proud to be a member of this team and this program, and this win right here and the wins that we've had this season, that goes to show just how much effort everyone in this program, everyone at this institution has put in. So very thankful, as I said.
John, congratulations on the Hula Bowl, and we'll see you next week as well as you play against Air Force.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
John, back to you.
Appreciate that, Tina. 15-0. Army takes it. And not to be overlooked, Ross. Yeah, I think it was kind of hinted at some there by John Radigan. Like so many of his brothers and sisters at his academy, and the same for Navy, they are quick to take responsibility and pride in things. But 2020 has been different. And both coaches talked about the mental health concerns of their teams this year, of their student populations. Unlike other colleges where at least on a weekend they could still make a run somewhere off campus, these young men and women have been confined to their respective institutions for months on end. And this game is a way to kind of vent a lot of those built-up frustrations.
Well, Jeff Monken has said that, they can't even go through the McDonald's drive-thru. I mean, they can't even get together with their parents to have a meal. I mean, one of the things I looked forward to the most playing college football was seeing my parents after the game and getting a chance to visit with them, and that hasn't been their experience this year. But credit to Mike Buddy, the athletic director, Bob Beretta, who handles all the scheduling for Army, to get these young men this many games, and Chet Gladchuk and all the folks over at Navy to get this many opportunities for these guys.
And Army takes it by a final count of 15-0. Of course, Navy had the storied streak with 14 consecutive wins in the series. That was dropped when Army ripped off 3 in a row. Navy a decisive win last year, but now it's Army for the 4th time in 5 years. Let's go downstairs to Tina.
And I am joined now by the head coach of Army football, Jeff Monken. Coach Monken, you beat Navy for the 4th time in the last 5 years, but today you shut out Navy. For the first time since 1969, Army shuts out Navy. What does that say about this accomplishment here today?
It's really hard to do, and their team just battled. Give Kenny Niumatalolo credit and their team, just how hard they fought. Nate Woody, our defensive coordinator, I can't say enough for the job he and the defensive staff have done all this year, but especially today. This is a really hard game to pitch a shutout, and just tremendous effort by our players. The raw determination down here on the goal line when we got the stop on 4th down, and we had a lot of plays that we had to make, and we just made them at the right times, and all the way down to our freshman kicker nailing that field goal at the end to kind of seal it.
And another challenge was thrown at you today. It's no longer here, but when the fog settled onto the stadium, how did that impact your players, the play calling, and your coaches in the booths upstairs?
I just told Jamie Erdahl from CBS that this is probably the best game that nobody saw. I'm not sure that the TV cameras could. Our coaches in the box came down at halftime. They couldn't see. And it just kept getting thicker. But it affected a little bit when the ball got in the air on punts and kickoffs. Neither team threw it very much and got it up in the air. So I don't know that it affected it a whole lot. A little bit of slick field, the wet ball sometimes, I think, probably contributed to the ball being on the ground some.
I had your senior John Radigan here a few moments ago, and obviously he had such a great impact on this game, but he talked about the brotherhood and how everyone stuck together through this pandemic and the quarantine and all the challenges that were sort of outside of football, like when the whole schedule changed. Now that it's come to beating Navy and you're 8-2 with another chance to have the Commander-in-Chief's trophy in your hand by next week, how do you commend your players on what they've been able to achieve by this point?
It's just a tremendous mental toughness and perseverance, and everybody's gone through tough times during this pandemic, and every college football player who's playing this year is going through similar things as our guys. But what's not a shared experience with our civilian counterparts is the fact that we are our own bubble, and our players have not left campus since June 1st, except for the 3 road games. And of course, we don't take everybody. So we got guys on our team that have been here since June 1st and have not been off campus. And just the toughness that takes to forge through, and the resiliency to come back and practice and care enough about this team that you set aside your own woes or feeling sorry for yourself because you got friends at other colleges that have been able to go through the McDonald's drive-thru or go hang out with their friends. Our guys sacrifice a lot, but it is because they love each other. The love for this brotherhood is incredible, and it absolutely got us the victory today. And that's the great thing about this game. I know the culture that Kenny has in his locker room. I know there's a brotherhood there. And I think that's why these teams fight so hard in this game against each other.
Coach Monken, congratulations on beating Navy. We really appreciate your time this evening.
Thanks a lot. Beat Navy.
Well, thank you so much. And Tina, thank you for everything all day. Fantastic job, my friend. Final score of 15-0 in the midst of the mist. Army shuts out Navy 15-0. The Black Knights take Army-Navy for the 4th time in 5 years. You're listening to the Army-Navy game on Westwood One, presented by USAA.
USAA is made for the military community. Whether you're currently serving, a veteran who served honorably, or eligible family members, we can help you manage your money and protect what's important. It's all about having your back, and it's been that way since we were founded in 1922. USAA, proud presenter of America's game.
USAA. Membership, eligibility, and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
Napa know-how. Right now, get a 5-quart jug of Napa full synthetic motor oil and a platinum filter for just $22.98. They're an iconic duo like Salt and Pepper, a hammer and a nail, or the holidays and awkward hugs. You can't get one without the other. That's Napa full synthetic and a platinum filter for just $22.98. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General states pricing. Sales price does not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer ends 12/31/20.
Celebrate home with gifts from Lowe's, like Craftsman Mechanics tool sets with a full lifetime warranty, starting at just $39.98. And right now, save big on a Ring Spotlight security camera. It was $199, and now's just $159.99. Shop gifts in-store or from home on our app and Lowe's.com with free shipping on thousands of items, or pick up curbside for contactless service. Valid through December 31st. Mech tools valid through January 3rd, 2021. U.S. only.
This is Jim Rome here to tell you about my podcast, the Jim Rome Podcast. Every single week, I drop brand new episodes of long-form, candid conversations with A-list guests like Aaron Rodgers, Terry Bradshaw, Bob Costas, Coach K, and Mark Cuban.
I was a stock clerk. I worked at a grocery store. I worked at a place called Isley's in Pittsburgh. I just did everything. I think I invented the word side hustle.
I have done around 150 of these, and I am not stopping anytime soon, so get subscribed today. The Jim Rome Podcast. Look for it wherever you get your podcast.
Welcome on back. Mikey Stadium on the grounds of the United States Military Academy, West Point. Final score in the 121st Army-Navy game. Army blanks Navy 15-0. First shutout win for Army in the series since 1969. Army has taken now 4 of the last 5. John Sadak alongside the 7-year NFL veteran and Ross Tucker as we break down some of the numbers in this game. Offense slight on each side. Navy 42 plays, 117 yards of total offense. Army not much better, 54 plays, 162 yards of total offense, but Army had the ball for almost 11 minutes more than Navy, 35-16 to 24-44. Army, while not great, was 4 of 14 on third down. Navy was 1 of 11 on third down, and it was really about making the most of opportunities. Army was 3 for 3 in the red zone. Navy was 0 for 1. Navy had a chance at a free football that was loose for a fumble, couldn't get it. Army recovered a loose football and turned that into a touchdown. And we heard Jeff Monken talk about it some, Ross. Those opportunities for Army, they capitalized on every one but the missed field goal, and Navy misfired on every opportunity it had.
Right, and that was the difference in the game. I mean, that and the turnover for Navy with the fumbled pitch there, which just totally cost them at that point. I mean, at that point, it still felt like they were one play away from having the lead. A one Xavier R-line run, and they would have had the lead. But once they fumbled that and Army got the touchdown to go up 10-0, you knew it was pretty much all she wrote.
And that also means it's all she wrote for Navy trying to retain the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. It will come down to next week. First time in the history of the CIC that Army-Navy is not deciding the CIC winner. Army will play Air Force, a game originally scheduled for weeks ago but postponed due to COVID-19. So they will take on Air Force here at Mikey Stadium, and the winner of that game wins the CIC. Big note, by the way, Navy, in not retaining the trophy, also becomes the first team in the history of the CIC to have to play both games on the road. That had never happened in that round robin by design, but because this game had to be shifted to Army and not a neutral field, they played at Air Force and at Army in the same year.
Right, and now that the game's over, I can say I'm pretty happy in the sense that next week I'll be here. I like that it's a winner-take-all game for the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. I'll be doing that game on the television side. Air Force really took it to Navy earlier in the season. There's a lot of different factors to that game, but I expect that Army-Air Force game next Saturday to be one hotly contested game. Should be awesome.
And so Army will take a 9-game home field win streak into that contest, having outscored its opponents 350-82. Army has now won 24 of 26 at home, while Navy has a losing season. It will end the year at 3-7, a 5-game losing skid, lost 4 games at home for the first time since 2002. It is only the third time in 13 years under Ken Niumatalolo they have known a losing streak like this.
Yeah, and it's weird because they were so good last year, 11-2, finished number 20 in the country. And I understand Malcolm Perry was an outstanding player, but he wasn't the difference between 11-2 and 3-7, John. I mean, they've had some other injuries. They've had some other issues on both sides of the ball. Once again, their defense played outstanding. It just was not enough because it's hard to continue playing defense when your offense isn't getting anything on the board for you.
And while today Ross made history, first game at one of the campus sites since World War II in 1943, next year it's going to go to the greater New York area and be played at MetLife Stadium, the home of the New York Football Giants and Jets, as they pay homage to those that fell on the 9/11 terrorist attacks 20 years earlier. And I'm sure that will be a very special scene with many specific tributes for those victims of those horrendous attacks and for many of those that went on to serve because of those attacks.
Yeah, it's history. I mean, it seems like there are different reasons why it's history every single time these two teams take the field. This year being a Mikey Stadium, this year will be known as the Fog Game, and then next year the 20th anniversary of 9/11.
Well, Ross, it's been a great ride, my friend. Really appreciate it. It's always a fun time to be with you, and thank you for being another set of eyes today, too, through this dense fog. With our 4, perhaps we caught a little bit of something during the game.
I look forward to this every year. This is a bucket list item. You got to come sometime, and I can't believe I get paid to come every year. This is amazing.
It's a fantastic journey. We encourage all of you, if you have a chance in a normal year, go to Army-Navy. And we thank you to both Army and Navy, the support staffs, the coaches, the players. They are just sensational. 15-0 Army shuts out Navy. We send it back to Jason Horowitz at our Westwood One studios.
All right, John, thank you very much. And you mentioned heading to MetLife Stadium next year. It'll be the first time it'll be in the New York, New Jersey area since 2002 when Navy won 58-12, which was the start of that historic streak. 14 in a row for Navy over Army. But now, as you mentioned, Army has now won 4 of the last 5 with a 15-0 shutout here this afternoon. All right, let's relive this ball game. The first at Mikey Stadium, the first at West Point since 1943. Just the 4th all-time at West Point. The other 2 were 1890 and 1892. The opening quarter was very defensive, 63 combined yards. During the first 4 drives, all resulted in punts, and as you expect, just 1 combined pass until the final play of the opening quarter.
Tyler under center, drops back, looking to throw, loads up and fires a wobbler near right. It's caught in stride by Robinson near the sideline, dances back in play. Mikey McMorris hits him down and tackles him at the 18-yard line. A big play in the air to the A-back freshman Tyrell Robinson.
100% passer today because Tyler 1 of 1 for those 28 yards. Got him in the red zone. They started the second quarter. Couldn't move it any farther. Settled for a Quinn Moretsky 37-yard field goal and a 3-0 lead 2 minutes into the second quarter. The fog that John and Ross talked about all throughout the day continued to drape the field. It made everything so difficult. Army missed a field goal before the end of the half, so 3-0 to the break. Army had 80 yards in the first half. Navy had 52. But after Xavier Arline had 10 yards on the opening play of the second half for the midshipmen, all of a sudden it totally felt like the feeling of the game was going to be very different with play number 2 of the second half.
Motion from C.J. Williams. Navy at its own 46, down 3-0. Shotgun snap, a roll to the right. A tuck and a sprint for Arline. He's off to the 45, the 40, the 35, the 30. Makes a man miss at the 25. Banks it outside, left to the 15. The 10 outside the numbers, the 5. Launches toward shy of the end zone. Xavier Arline explodes down the field, weaving through the defense. Cedric Cunningham saves a touchdown.
So the 52-yard run to the Army 2-yard line, basically doubling their offense from the first half. But 3 tries at it to punch it in. They couldn't move it across the goal line. Kenny Amatololo, he wasn't going for a tie. Instead, giving us the Wrangler highlight of the game.
Nelson Smith, the burly fullback, 4th and goal on the half-yard line. Arline takes the snap. He launches over center. They race in to make the call. They have to peel the pile. A giant sea of bodies for each side. Navy claiming it has it. They yank the pile. They're stopped. Army defense holds. Navy denied on the doorstep again. And Army will take over on its own half-foot line, maintaining a 3-0 lead.
That's the highlight of the game, sponsored by Wrangler, introducing ATG by Wrangler, outdoor apparel that gets you there. It doesn't compromise, conform, or call it quits. Shop Wrangler.com today. So a massive play in a 3-0 game. And then it went back to a field position game. Army punted, Navy punted, Army punted. Navy had a shot at a scoop and score, but couldn't grab the ball. So Army punted again to start the 4th quarter, still up 3-0. Pin Navy back deep. 1 play later, midshipman fumbled. Army recovery, setting up the Black Knights in the red zone.
Wide receiver motion on 2nd and goal. He takes it himself. Tyler, unimpeded into the end zone. Touchdown. Tyre Tyler streaks in for the TD. His 2nd rushing score and the first touchdown of this game. It's 9-0 Army. 11:02 to go in the 4th quarter.
And then the only touchdown of the game. Added the extra point, 10-0. Got a couple of more stops. Navy down 10-0. Really just one more shot at it midway through the 4th quarter. Backed up, though, inside of its own 15. Trying anything to try to get back in this game.
Shotgun snap as they jet sweep and then reverse. Looping to the far side and getting chopped down in the end zone. Contact on the wideout who had no room to rumble, and a safety as Army blows up the trick play in a big way and puts 2 more points on the board to take a 12-0 lead. 5:21 to go in the 4th quarter.